Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out. Uncertainty, self-doubt, stressing about not knowing where to start. In. Plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out. Word art. Sorry, live, laugh, lovers. In. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week, in Plymouth, New Hampshire, a horribly bloody and violent murder takes place in a sleepy college town, and while that case goes cold, the killer only gets more depraved and practiced. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another exciting, crazy edition of Small Town Murder. And today's is wild. It's an under-the-radar serial killer, and it is crazy stuff today. There's some graphic descriptions coming in there. We'll warn you ahead of time just so in case some people are squeamish. They want to fast forward 30 seconds, whatever, but some crazy stuff coming up today. But before we get to that, just want to say thank you, first of all, for everything you've done for us. Thank you for coming to the live shows.
Oh, yes.
Those were wonderful. Thank you. And they're coming up more, of course. We'll see you this weekend in Seattle and Portland. Thank you for your reviews on whatever app you're listening on. They do help a lot. So 5 stars on those if you could. What you need to do first, though, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now for all of your merchandise. First of all, put that merchandise on and get yourself to a live show. If you're listening to this the day it comes out on Thursday, we are tonight in Seattle. So get your tickets to that. There's a few tickets left, and I think there might be a couple left for Friday, too, tomorrow's show.
That's possible. Yeah.
We are in Portland over the weekend. It's been sold out for a long time, but you never know. There could be returns. Keep checking. Whatever, check it out. All the tour dates are on there. You can see where we are, and come see us. It's a good time. And thank you for Boston, New York. We had a blast there. We're excited for the West Coast again, where it's freezing and rainy.
Which
worse
is
than
bizarre.
New York. It's going to be
excited
interesting.
to be in the warm area that's colder than the cold area.
No, can't wait. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Treat for you this week. We have a couple of gems this week for you. If you haven't subscribed yet, maybe this is the week for you. Patreon.com/crime and sports. First of all, anybody $5 or above, you get access to everything. Crime and sports bonus, small town murder bonus. Any bonus we do, you're going to get it. And this week, no exception, 2 wonderful episodes for you. We have for crime and sports, we did a show on counterfeit memorabilia. And that most of it is fake, and it's really disturbing. We've had people tweeting pictures of their autographs with the certificate from a company we know is a bunk company, so it's bad stuff. So
very unfortunate.
Yeah, if you want to find out if that autograph is real, check that episode out. And then because it's not only for sports, for entertainment, for everything. And then for Small Town Murder, we did something very great and close and near and dear to our hearts. We did just county and state fair weirdness that goes on at these strange carnivals in every state that happens. And
it is nuts.
There's a llama prom. Literally, people doing like a prom thing with llamas. It's
the prama.
Monkeys riding dogs. There's some weird stuff going on and some strange bands. So check all that out. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And if you were, just because we appreciate you so much as well, you will get a shout out at the end of the show. Jimmie will mispronounce your name while trying his best to say it concisely and clearly. And if you just want to make a donation and have great karma and get your shout out, you can do that over at PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. That said, disclaimer time. Yeah. This is a comedy show. We are comedians. The story is real. There's nothing made up about the story, nothing for, hey, let's make it funnier. None of that stuff. Real, crazy, disgusting, horrible stories that take place every single week. And we have to make jokes about them because life sucks and
it does.
Murder sucks worse. Yeah. So rather than the dour kind of, and then the head was removed from the body, we try to spice it up a little bit and, make jokes about the murder. No. If there is a head being removed, that's not a source of humor. There's plenty of other stuff, like idiot murderers who think they can get away with it and can't. That's hilarious to us. So that's the kind of thing we're making fun of. What we do not do, what we go out of our way not to do, is we do not make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why, James?
Because we're assholes.
What?
But we're not scumbags. And that's how that works. So if that sounds good to you, we have a crazy-ass story. Welcome aboard. If you think true crime and comedy should never go together, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't listen, or maybe you should, and you probably will like it. But if you don't, no complaining afterwards, because we warned you that there are jokes. Don't complain. There were jokes in there. You know that now. So that said, I think it's time to sit back, clear the lungs, and shout, "Shut up and give me murder." Let's do this, Jimmie. Let's go on a trip, shall we?
I'd like it.
Let's get going, man. Let's do it. We are going all the way to New Hampshire this week.
I love it there.
Up to New Hampshire. We haven't been there in a while, too.
It's been a minute.
It's been a year exactly since we've been to New Hampshire.
What was it? It wasn't Epping. It was the other town.
It was what was it? Hampton. Hampton, New Hampshire.
Hampton.
That's what it was here. So we're heading to New Hampshire. This is Plymouth, New Hampshire. It is in eastern central New Hampshire.
Yeah, it is.
Halfway up there. Yeah. It's about an hour 45 down to Boston, about 2 hours over to Portland, Maine, if you wanted to do that, and about an hour and a half to Hampton, New Hampshire, which was our last episode, which was this time last year. Right. And Hampton was pretty close to Boston. It was like 20 minutes away.
It's a real piece of shit, that town.
Yeah, this one, a little bit different here. It's in Grafton County, area code 603. This isn't a suburb of anything. This is just a little small town in the middle of the forest in New Hampshire with a tiny college in it. That's how it works. It's 28 square miles, so big area.
Wow.
Lots of woods, big properties, people have owned acres for generations and things like that here. Motto here is this motto, by the way, he's really specific. You have to like know the region. Quote, bridging the lakes region and the White Mountains.
Yeah.
Terrific. What does that mean to an outsider?
I don't know.
It means nothing to an outsider. That's very specific.
I guess it's bridging the hill folk to Lake Winnipesaukee.
To the lake folk who letting Bob stay there for a couple extra days while he works on it and takes baby steps. Is that what's going on here?
That's what it is.
I guess it is. Well, there you go. The history of this town was originally the site of an Abenaki village that was burned to the ground by Captain Thomas Baker in 1712. Oh boy,
he sounds like a dick.
Apparently this was one of many raids that the British had on American Indian settlements during Queen Anne's War.
Wow,
just coming in and burning shit to the ground, and so since then. Yeah. Less of the Abenaki tribe has been there since that.
Feels less of a war and more of an assault. To wage war, you've got to declare it upon people, and they understand that they have to fight back.
That's the thing. If you walk up to an old man online at the bank and you punch him in the back of the head and then say, "I got in a fight and I won," that's not really a fight and you won. He wasn't paying attention. He's looking over there doing his banking, not expecting he needed to go into combat mode at the chase. I think that's what happened. So part of the land was named New Plymouth at first after the original Plymouth colony in Massachusetts, and then they just said, fuck it, New is it's too long. We're going with Plymouth. So some of the people who came here originally came from Plymouth, Massachusetts. I guess they thought it was a good place to go. They incorporated in 1763. This town was incorporated, which is older than the country. Literally older than the Declaration of Independence if you're not from America. They annexed parts of other towns to make more of their town here in 1845 and 1860. In 1806, Daniel Webster lost his first criminal case at the Plymouth courthouse, and the author Nathaniel Hawthorne was on vacation here in 1864 with former U.S. President Franklin Pierce, and he died in Plymouth while he was there in a house that later burned down. Everything burns down.
Daniel Webster, is that the dictionary guy?
I believe it was, actually. Yeah. And Franklin Pierce was like one of the most tragic presidents ever. Like his one kid died, then he was on a train, and his train got in an accident where one of his kids and his wife were mangled in front of him in a horrible train accident, like while he was president, and then he was just like shell shocked the whole rest of the time. He just kind of sat around. He was one of the reasons for the Civil War was his complete inaction because he was just fucking depressed and shell shocked and couldn't do anything. So he was one of the. So he turned out to be a really useless president, but really you can't blame the guy, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, he got elected because they made up. They had some pamphlet distributed about what a great guy he was, and they kind of made this big campaign that he was going to be president. And it turns out he wasn't that great of a guy. So. In the early 1900s, the Draper and Maynard Sporting Goods Company sold products directly to the Boston Red Sox. And the Red Sox, including like Babe Ruth, used to come up there to pick
the store.
Yeah, pick out their bats and their gloves up there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
can you imagine
free equipment,
Oshman's or Dick's, and then just Randy Johnson walks in.
I'm looking for a new glove. I'm looking for a new.
Derek Jeter pops in for a new glove.
Jesus, that's wild, right? So reviews of this town. There's a few, and they're mostly positive. And here's 5 stars. Quote, Plymouth is a quiet but very nice town. To me, it's big because I come from a very small town. I don't know. It's not a big town at all when I tell you the people. But it's the kind of big that has a lot of stuff in it. Like, what?
That's gross.
There are a lot of places to eat, and there's a post office right next to where I live. Well, I mean, you've got it all covered. I don't know what your 5 stars, I guess. There it was. 4 stars, family first community, adorable Main Street with incredible places to eat and walk, great schools and community events, lacks diversity and true neighborhoods, as well as caters to an older demographic versus younger families. the population is half college kids, so I don't know how it caters to an older demographic. It's literally half college kids.
Did a 12-year-old write that?
I don't know what they're talking about. They really cater to like the 18 to 22 demographic, which I feel like
it's a bunch of bullshit.
It's about these boomers, who are juniors in college.
There's no Paw Patrol on ice coming through town, and it's really annoying.
I don't care for it personally. Here's 3 stars. Okay, the winters a harsh. Oh, I guess winters are harsh is what they're going for. Harsh, cold, and snowy, but the summers are hot and humid. Is that supposed to make you feel better?
It's cold as shit in the winter, but in the summertime I get heat stroke, so it's
real
nice.
warm. Some seasons have a lot of rain, but overall the weather adaptable.
What?
I don't know. You just gave the vaguest weather forecast for the Northeast I've ever heard in my life. The Farmer's Almanac version.
Yeah, what every season is. Okay.
Yeah, just describing seasons. Thank you.
We have 4 seasons a year. It's weird.
It's pretty cool. Then leaves fall off trees here in the fall. Here's 2 stars. It's with a very specific complaint here. Quote, there is little to no public transportation. Taxis don't really exist. There is no trains or segways.
No segues either.
No, you live in a small town. Where do you expect? What kind of a public transportation infrastructure do you expect in a town of less than 7,000 people?
Guy needs a subway, Jay.
In the middle of nowhere. I need a direct line from here to the Greenwich Village. I don't understand what the problem is. Right. What's the issue? What are we doing? What the fuck? Here, right to Cambridge. I don't know why this is not happening.
It's goddamn annoying.
It's so weird because population is 6,916. So
what are you looking for?
What are you looking for, man? Even the college.
You're looking to live in a city. That's what you're looking for.
That's what that's what the thing you're looking for is a city. Boston's that way, dude. Yeah. Like you're in a college town with this college only has 3,000 students. So it's not even a big you're in a tiny place.
My high school had that many people.
Yeah, so did mine. It's up 17% since 2000, so people are coming here. Female population is a little bit lower than the male population. The average age here is 22.2.
So young.
It's 15 years under the national average, and
wow.
It's because of the college kids is what that is. All these stats are going to be skewed by it being 3,000 18 to 22-year-olds in town. Married population, 26%. So like half of normal because they're in college. And luckily they haven't decided to get married yet, which is good. But it's so weird. It's all that, but the widow rate is higher for some reason. Kids are ODing or what? I don't know what's going on. Very weird. Divorce rate's lower. Single with no children, 22.5%. That is that's as good as it gets here for that if you're looking to party. Race of this town, 90.3% white. So
that's,
pretty goddamn white. That's pretty much all of New Hampshire. 1.2% black, 2.3% Asian, which is about half, and then 2.9% Hispanic.
Fascinating.
It's very the whole state of New Hampshire is very Pepperidge Farm remembers. That's the best way to put it. The guy who says that, there's your average citizen of New Hampshire. That guy. He's whittling. He's on his porch. He's got some country time lemonade and a Milano.
There's that, and then there's a big progressive population that just loves experimenting with weed.
Mm-hmm. It's the woods, so you're going to get that too.
And then there's shitloads of heroin addicts.
22.8% are religious, so the college kids they haven't felt any pain, and they don't need any help from any outside force at this point. It's spread out, a couple of Baptists, an Episcopalian or two. 11% Catholic, that's the highest because Catholics are the Baptists of the North, as we goddamn well know. 0.0% Jewish, so there's that. In this county, last election in Grafton County, 61% voted Democratic, 37% Republican, 2% Independent, which New Hampshire usually goes a little more on the independents sometimes. They're known for that. They're known to be, a little... New Hampshire's unpredictable. They're an unpredictable kind of place. They like that about... They like thinking, what do you think we're going to do? Yeah, we won't do that then. That's what they do. Just to do a little whip-better-do, not to be like they have no steadfast passions. It's just, I'm not going to do what you think we're going to do. How's that? It's very weird. Weird place. So the unemployment rate's about half of what it is in the rest of the country. Okay. And I think a lot of that's college kids have kind of menial jobs, as we'll see here, because the household income is $42,000 a year. It's about $15,000 less than the national average. But it's a lot of there's a lot of food services and stuff like that. And there's 3 times the educational jobs as well, because the college is half the population, so that's where all the jobs are. Sure. Yeah, definitely. Cost of living, 100 being regular average. Here it is 88.7. So not too bad. Housing's a 79. Median home cost is $258,400, which is lower than about $33,000 lower than the national average.
I feel like that's going to change though, because New Hampshire had a boom in
it did.
Holy fuck!
But this is in the middle of nowhere. This isn't commutable. This is you can't really commute to Boston from here. It's going to be hard.
Concord, or Manchester.
Yeah, it's a different. They're even that last town we did, Hampton or whatever that we did here. It's a little bit different. But if you've chosen that, you know what, this sounds like the idyllic little town. You don't need taxis. You don't need subways. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need a college nearby. We have for you the Plymouth, New Hampshire Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here, and that I imagine there's probably a lot of renting going on for college kids, goes for $1,063, which is about $200 less than the national average. It's about to be expected. I found here a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,296 square foot house.
That's a big fucking house.
It is fucked up. It is. Dude, it's a disaster.
Lot of piece of shit, huh?
Like, I don't know how the person in there that took the pictures of the inside wasn't in fear of their life from that thing falling down upon them. There are ceilings falling in. It is so, I can't even describe how fucked up this house is. It looks old it looks like a haunted house from the outside, and then the inside's like, holy shit, it's worse than the outside. But all of this and a new refrigerator just sitting in there. Bright white, brand new refrigerator in the middle of this disaster.
That'll take the attention off the rest of this.
It's awesome. $99,900 though.
All right. What is that, Samsung?
It's a tear down, this house. Then I found a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,380 square foot house. It's nice, but boring. It's in this like boring looking like new neighborhood. There's like 3 houses for sale that are all like on the same street and they all look the same.
Yeah.
One of those type of things. Fine. Everything's updated, whatever. $251,500. Kind of your average house in this town. Then I found a 6-bedroom, 7-bath, 4,256 foot. Beautiful. This house is gorgeous. It's older. It looks well kept. Very nice. It's the B&B from a Hallmark movie town.
Fuck yeah.
You know, like Ree Drummond lives there in the movie. That sort of shit. All of that, $700,000.
That's not bad for 4,000 square feet of house.
It's not bad too. Inside's gorgeous too. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's old but kept nice and updated in the right places. It's a really nice house. It's a nice place. It looks. You could definitely make like an Airbnb.
Is it
not
an
Airbnb?
One?
You can do like a real B&B out of it.
Yeah.
It's an old house. Yeah, it's an old looking house.
So
it's beautiful.
Cool.
Really nice. Things to do here. Okay. Not a lot to do in this town, I got to be honest with you. You can do college stuff. I assume drinking in the woods is a thing.
There's probably some karaoke happening.
Karaoke, go to, I don't know, a bonfire, I'm sure, takes place once in a while.
Absolutely.
With rural college kids. But I did find Plymouth's 2021 Hometown Holiday Celebration.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Sponsored proudly by the Rotary Club of Plymouth. So there's that.
Why is it always the Rotary Club?
You know that's going to be a big party if the Rotary Club's involved. They're always fucking involved here.
They're fucking tiny cars and their weird hats.
I think those are Shriners.
Is those Shriners? No, the Rotary does it too, right?
They have tiny cars and weird hats?
In parades and shit, right?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Are you thinking of, I don't know.
Maybe I am thinking of Shriners. I don't know.
And I'm confusing Rotary with Chamber of Commerce, so I have no idea what I'm talking about here.
Both the Rotary Club and the Shriners. I don't know what you do. You fucking keeping it under wraps, keeping secret sons of bitches.
I think the Shriners have hospitals. They have like free hospitals, I think, for like children's cancer and shit. So
and the Rotary Club just like
I don't know what they're doing.
Old telephones.
I was going to say they're trying to bring back old telephones is what they're doing. They're really tired of this touch tone fad that's been going on for the last 50 years.
They're
or
getting
so.
legislation passed to get rid of intersections and just build rotaries.
Oh, that would be it. They're the roundabout people.
Yeah.
So
Roundabout Club sounds worse than Rotary.
It does. So this took place already. This took place like 10 days ago. Friday, December 3rd, they had the Festival of Trees. Gotta have that, which is at the Silver Center for the Arts, and just enjoy the display and take a chance to win one of the fully decorated Christmas trees.
Oh.
Why would you want to win a fully decorated one? That takes half the...
I don't have to put this shit together?
No, kids, we're not decorating the tree.
It's already done with these meaningless ornaments.
But I want to put our stuff on it. Nope.
No.
This is what the Rotary Club felt we should have in our living room. So
the Rotary already did it.
This is what we're doing. And Friday night only is special performance by PSU, which is Plymouth State University, which is where we are here. Mixed Emotions and Vocal Order, which I assume is some vocal group. So that's just the kickoff, though. That's from 10:30 a.m., 8 to 8 p.m., Festival of Trees. Then Saturday, it really opens up now.
Now we're talking. Going?
That's when it gets really hot. The 10th annual PES Jingle Bell 5K Trail Run. So there's that. 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. was a wreath-making workshop canceled. Wow. It's the only event canceled. I don't know what the...
We're running in 25 degrees, but we can't be indoors building a fucking wreath.
I apparently no wreaths there. Yeah, they're not going to have that. Then they do the Festival of Trees again that day. I guess it continues. Yeah. The Kids Outdoor Holiday Bash. Oh. I don't know what they do there. It's for kids K through 5, so the little kids. Here comes 2 o'clock, 2 p.m., the best time slot for entertainment that you can get if you're the performer. Sure. The PSU Holiday Concert. Fun for all ages. Doesn't say what that is or what they'll be performing. I assume Christmas songs of some kind.
It's children friendly, so it sucks.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. 4 to 5, the Main Street Hospitality Tour. Okay. Yeah. Stop in to warm up, it says. It's going to be cold, so you want to walk in there. And then 4:30 to 5, Holiday Carol Sing-Along. Jesus, it's led by Tim Keefe, Jimmie. So,
it's going to be
it's going to be quite the occasion. Yeah. And good news, it says all capital letters free. Oh, I don't have to pay money to sing fucking Christmas carols in the street? Wow, that's a deal. What a steal.
How did Tim not just take the name Chief as why not have a stage name there, Keith? Like, you've got so many options.
He's probably like the librarian, though. That's the thing. Or like he teaches second grade.
Librarian named Chief Keith.
That'd be cool. Chief Keith, the librarian. 5 p.m. Holiday parade begins. Bands, floats, walkers, horses, dancers, and of course, Santa.
Hell yeah.
By walkers, I just pictured old ladies with walkers in the parade, by the way, not just people walking.
I saw white walkers.
There you go.
Santa.
See? There you go. 6 p.m. is the Chill Buster Barbecue.
Oh.
I don't want the words barbecue and buster in the same sentence if I'm going to eat it, because it sounds like it's going to explode my stomach and my general gastrointestinal system. Alex Ray and Plymouth Rotarians, serve up chili, chowder, burgers, and dogs. That sounds awesome. 6 p.m., visit with Santa at the bonfire on Green Street. And
Santa's at the bonfire?
He's at the bonfire drinking.
Fucking beer in his hand.
He's going to have a malt liquor in his hand, down in it, and going, come on, kids. Hop up here. Santa's got some things he needs to tell you, too, all right?
Throwing empties at elves and telling them, beer me.
God damn it. And then they're like, Santa, what's wrong? And he's like, Mrs. Claus is a bitch. She's a bitch.
Put another log on it, kid.
Oh, God. He's just hammered. We're like, I think you're the problem, Santa.
I would go to that fire.
I would, too. December 5th, Sunday, skate with Santa.
Okay.
That's pretty. What if he breaks his ankle? Then what? The kids are like, oh, no, Christmas is canceled. Santa's hurt.
I want to see that, too.
And it all closes up with the Pemmy Choral Society Winter Concert. They're performing Snow Angel, whatever the fuck that is. So there's that. Enjoy that, everybody. And Have fun.
Hope you loved it.
Hope you loved it. Crime rate in this. Yeah, crime rate we're interested in. Property crime, slightly high, but in the range of normal, about 10% high. And violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, just about average. So right about on the average. Yeah, it's college, so you're going to get that. That said, let's talk about a murder that happened here. Let's do it. And there'll be more than one that we have to talk about today.
Oh, no.
There is a lot of murder today, guys, everybody, people. Murder, we have to go back to 1991.
Oh,
Let's
not
go
long
back
ago.
in time. Not too long ago. No, I mean, this is, Nirvana's breaking out right now.
Boy.
We're in a definite transition time. Things are getting less neon.
Yeah.
Through the
Black is being fucking embraced.
Over the next 2 years, neon will be phased out for flannel. It's an interesting time in America.
Going
everyone.
gray, red, and black. I like it.
Let's do it, everybody. 1991, Plymouth, New Hampshire. We will talk about Teresa Ann Reed, who goes by Tess. Tess is what everybody calls her. She's 30 years old. She grew up in nearby Rumney there, went to high school there and everything like that. It was close by. Yeah. She went to Plymouth State College and graduated with a business degree in 1983.
Great.
And she got a job at the college. She was the assistant registrar at the college at this point in time. And she lived near the school, alone in one of, it's like a 3-apartment building, has 3 apartments in it, and it's just a little walk from her job. She just can walk to and from her job. And a nice little, we described the town.
Small circle of life, yeah.
Little idyllic town. She's from over here. She can drive to her parents and have Sunday dinner and all that stuff.
Lives here, walks back and forth to work.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah,
it's a great thing, except when she doesn't show up for work one day.
Oh, no.
She doesn't show up for work, and after 2 days of her not showing up for work, she is checked on, obviously, and she's inside of her apartment. Unfortunately, they find her. She's been stabbed 9 times when they find her. She's been horribly, horribly murdered here. I mean, it's a scene. She
fought back.
Yeah, they find her kind of smushed between the bed and the wall.
Oh, no.
With 9 stab wounds, and she's just been, there's been a definite scuffle here, and it's a bad scene to walk in on. And this town goes ballistic over this, by the way. They go, everybody freaks out. They get immediatally they bring in the state police in here. They're not messing around with doing
this is
some
a boogeyman scenario.
Yeah.
This is horrible.
They're not bringing in what's the one guy, the game warden in the one episode. They're not bringing in the game warden. The mayor's not trouncing around in the victim's blood going, well, what's over here? And picking shit up and handling it. They're actually on top of this. And
county boys stay out.
Yeah, they bring in the state major crimes unit right away into this soon as they find it here. And they really go at this hard because it's a small place. Like, who could have done it, So they assume it's somebody she knows, just being at the way the town is. So they interview dozens of people. That swells into the hundreds range. Yeah. So they interview a lot of students as well. Who has she dealt with in the last 2 weeks? She's the assistant registrar.
There's
everybody.
3,000 people that could have been involved with her.
That's what I mean. Everybody. So it's like, shit, everyone knows who she is. Everybody. So it's like, and if they didn't know her personally, they knew of her. So it's just, she's just there. So they interview her, coworkers, neighbors, friends, something, trying to figure out anything they can. They can't even figure out the time of death because they just know sometime in the last 2 days. They don't even know. So that makes it even worse, obviously. The only thing they can rule out after the first little while is they rule out that it involved a disgruntled student. Their initial suspect is a disgruntled student who caused a bit of a kerfluffle at the registrar's office and was mad at her. Hey, who knows what happened? They couldn't register for something and they wanted to, and what the fuck, man? This is bullshit.
Wound up in a class he didn't register for or some shit.
Yeah,
like that.
Got angry, and I mean that's people get angry all the time at everybody, so that's normal. And it turns out that he had it wasn't him, full alibi. He's with people for whatever, wasn't missing, the whole deal. So They asked the police, is this a random event, maybe? Because one of the campus officials said it's got to be a random event. We don't think it's... They were also covering their college's ass when they said that. Like, I mean, we don't think it's anyone that knows her from the college. I mean, it's probably somebody who came off the highway and stopped for a burger in town there at the diner and just decided...
a drifter afoot,
Obviously a drifter, clearly. We have a hitchhiker scenario. Has anyone talked to Rucker Hauer? Is he involved in this?
I almost referenced him, I don't know, maybe 4 weeks ago. And I was like, I don't even know if James knows who that guy is.
Yeah, Rucker Hauer? Yeah, of course I know Rucker Hauer. He's a goddamn hitchhiker. So, yeah, there you go. And a lot of other things.
Yeah, but I don't know which is scarier, though, James. Is there a kid on the loose or somebody that works at the college that's dangerous? Or which is the drifter worse? The drifter's worse.
I think you hope it's personal. Yeah. Because if it's personal, then it's not going to spread.
Everybody else is safe.
Then everyone else is spread. If it's she made somebody mad and they killed her, we get it. If it's a boyfriend, okay, don't go out with that guy, whatever. Right. But when it's just we don't know who did it, might have been a random thing, could be a serial killer, a drifter. Then people go, nobody's safe. Oh my God. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. You need that money a couple days early, or go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
He said, the cop, when asked about that, they said, well, this campus official said it might have been random. And he shook his head and he said, quote, if that's where the information in this case was leading, we would have disclosed that immediately because they don't want, they want people
we got to tell the public.
Yeah, there's a panic afoot here. So about Teresa here, her brother said, quote, this is the president of the university, said she was vibrant, happy, full of contagious enthusiasm, and just a wonderful person. She brightened a room when she walked in and cared deeply about the students. And he also said, after that, you didn't walk at night alone. It was shocking. So everything in this town changed immediately. It went from carefree students walking around doing shit to they were getting in groups of 8. This young lady here, Meredith Hale, who's 19 at the time, she said, I wouldn't even walk with just 2 people now. She said, because her dorm is a short walk from where Teresa lived. And another young lady, Cindy Nadeau, she said that last night I saw people in groups of 8 or more. Everyone is worried. That's what's happening now. It's all these huge groups are walking around. And finally, the only reason the cops came was because a coworker said she hasn't showed up for work for 2 days, which is how many times have our murders, people with jobs get found quicker. We know that. Like, how many of our murder victims have only been found because their job called the police after 3 days because they haven't heard from anybody? That's it. That's all. It's crazy. If you're not employed, no one's looking for you. It's fucked up, man.
Yeah, mine is this
That's
schedule.
Scary.
My mom would never be looking for me. You know what I mean?
No.
Thank God for you, because
I'd find you. Yeah,
you'd be like, Jimmy, it's time. We got to record.
Yeah, and then you get where the hell is small town murder fucking messages and tweets coming in. So poor Teresa though found 9 stab wounds, and the students were obviously freaking out. They put extra security officers on patrol. They said that dormitories were on a mandatory locked 24 hours a day. All the main entrances. The college made on-campus escorts available. They would have I don't know, a couple of the biggest guys they can find that were like a team of escorts to walk people home. So also stores in the area experience huge sales of ammunition, door locks, mace, shit like that. All
that
the normal
shit starts coming off the shelves quick.
It's all the normal. I'm scared of my house stuff. The state police captain here said, quote, we certainly don't want to cause anyone any undue alarm. The investigation is continuing and people should keep their eyes open. And if they see anything unusual, please call us. And they said, could it be a random act? And he said, we haven't ruled it out. We truly don't know, which is not what you want to hear from the police a week after a murder. So the parents were coming in to visit their kids at school and make sure they were okay. And it's crazy. One of the parents here said, quote, I heard it on the news and they didn't have a suspect. That's a big concern, especially after what happened in Florida, referring to referring to that.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's because this is 91, so it was only a few years before this, and that's still in people's minds of someone could go in there and butcher a bunch of girls. I mean, who knows?
It's fascinating how fast we're desensitized to things like this, because Phoenix had 2 fucking serial killers operating at the same time in 2003, 2004.
Shit, yeah.
Nobody changed a fucking thing about their lives.
No. That's in a city. That's what you get. Unless it's like Richard Ramirez. Yeah. Because everyone in L.A., people locked their windows and people did act differently with him. And there's only a couple. You know what I mean? Yeah. David Berkowitz, people didn't go sit in cars and shit like that. But it has to be somebody real famous.
Extravagant, yeah.
In a small town, it could just be one murder and people freak out.
It could be a husband and a wife, and I'd still freak out.
They do. One of the university person here said that a large percentage of our students are apprehensive. For many of them, it's the first time they've been away from home. We only hope there's some closure to this quickly. Who said Timothy Keith, by the way.
Chief Keef?
Chief Keefe, Dean of Students and Director of Residential Life. We found out who Tim Keefe is.
He's the dean?
Hell yeah, he's the Dean of Students.
Why does he not go by Chief Keefe?
Well, he's the dean 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So either he's still the
playing music?
He might be an ex-mayor now for all we know. You know what I'm saying? Like, who the hell knows what he's done? Where else could he go from Dean of Students in 30 years?
He's certainly the chief.
He's definitely the chief. He's leading the carols. And
is unbelievable.
He's so awesome. They have to make sure that you know it's free because you'd imagine you'd get charged for that.
That's never happened in these towns.
No, where we come up with the guy later on. That's wild.
He pops in to be part of the story.
Never ever happened before. That's
amazing.
As I'll explain, by the way, do not think that this case is over because there are. You need to listen to the end, this one. Okay. There's so much happening, and I will also explain to you how you think that's coincidental. There's something way more coincidental that happened that I can't tell you about now because it'll give the whole story away.
Okay.
But we'll tell you about it later. They made telephone hotlines for anyone who's got counseling needs, any of the kids that are freaked out. So they said everyone's saying they're taking extra precautions. Sure. One girl said, "We don't know what's going on. My friends and I went walking last night, and I said, I'm not walking by that house. I'm spooked." We're uptight. We didn't expect it. I've lived north of Boston all my life. Up here, you just don't expect this.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing. This was the safe place. This is where their parents were like, yeah, you can go walk around up there and it'll be fine to get you out of Boston. I don't want to send you there.
Where there's all kinds of weird stuff that happens.
Kinds of weirdos and murderers everywhere. So that case from 1991 quickly becomes cold. I mean, they have nothing.
That's awful.
They don't have shit to go on here. It's awful. Absolutely awful. The poor Teresa Reed's family gets no closure on this whatsoever on that case. It goes cold. The students eventually, kids graduate. They forget about it. New kids come in, and it's like it never happened. So and it'll be a legend of that's the murder house in a small town with the college kids like that. Like,
back in 91. Yeah.
Yep. That's, I heard over there, there's where, and it'll be like the wrong house by then. It'll get telephoned into something totally different.
On the other side of the street.
Yeah, totally. Some poor old lady lives there for 40 years.
Sitting on the stoop of the real murder house, pointing at another house saying, never go to that house. It's creepy.
It's creepy there, man. So creepy. So that brings us, 3 years go by. Yeah. That brings us to December 3rd, 1994. Okay. And this is in Lexington, Massachusetts, which is about 25 minutes outside of Boston. It's a suburb of Boston. Now, Lexington here, it's 915 Massachusetts Avenue in Lexington, to be exact, is the address that we're going to go to.
Boy, is this New England.
This is very New England, Lexington, Mass Ave. Mary Lou Sale is who we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. Mary Lou Sale, I don't know how you pronounce it, Sale or Sale. It's S-A-L-E. That's Sale, but in a name,
that's Sale to me.
I'm going with Sale. So Mary Lou is 49 years old, and she works as an accountant here. She recently moved to Lexington. She's only been here a few months.
Brand new.
She just got here. She was from Los Angeles.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and her daughter is a student, not even at Plymouth State, but at Wheaton College, which is in Norton, which is pretty close striking range. All these towns are 20 minutes away from each other.
Right, yeah.
So she came here, immediately got a job as an accountant with Wellesley, in a place in Wellesley, the town, the firm of Friedberg and Garlick. Friedberg and Garlick.
Sounds like cheese.
Garlic. It's garlic with a K on the end.
Hilarious.
Garlic. That's awesome. So Friedberg and Garlic. I'd go to that restaurant. That sounds delicious. So she's a tax specialist is what she is. She specializes in tax accounting.
Yeah.
Good lady to know. So she lives alone. She's got rents a house. She didn't buy a place, but she rents a house. It's a 2-story house, 915 Massachusetts Avenue. And so December 3rd, 1994, she went up to her room. Her bedroom's on the second floor of her house. She went up there. She put on her pajamas, gets into bed, reads a book till she falls asleep. Reasonable.
Average,
a lot of people do that.
Average lady thing. Yeah.
Average, just anybody. Lay down, you read, you go to sleep. It's just normal. Yeah. I mean, sounds like a 49-year-old accountant to me.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't then she went out and she had 3 dominatrix jobs she needed to do, and then she did that. Just a real
stomping to do.
Yeah, she really had to stomp a couple of nut-sacks. There's a couple of CEOs that needed their, to be put in their place. They like to pay for that. So, no, she's just a real average, nice, doing her thing lady. So she's in bed. She reads. Her neighbors saw her lights on in her house until approximately 9:30 p.m., which, by the way, who's looking at their neighbors' lights? Can you imagine?
Why are you looking at my windows at 9:30 p.m. to see if there's lights on?
Could you looking out? Mary Lou still got her lights on, honey. Okay, what time? 9:05. All right, I'll check back at 9:30. What the fuck are you talking about?
What weirdo? I couldn't tell you.
I have no idea.
My neighbor, I got houses all around me. I don't know what time they fucking go to bed.
If you put me on the spot, I could not tell you what kind of car my next door neighbor drives. If you put me on the spot, I don't know. I don't look. I don't care. It's not my concern. I literally don't know.
Mine park them on the fucking street, so I know what the one.
Maybe
east
a
of me,
Honda,
I don't know what that guy drives. Yeah.
Honda. I don't know what the fuck it's something.
Directly across the street, directly next to me, I know what they drive. I know what he drives. I don't know what his wife drives. Guy across the street, I know what he drives, not his wife.
So, these people know what time she turned her lights off that night, which is, that's wild, man. So it's all these goddamn stories of these neighbors they were looking out the window and they saw a car they never saw before, so they wrote the license plate down. What?
The guy next to me might know my schedule, though, James. If I ever go missing, he might be like, I saw lights on. The guy puts my trash cans in for me. I put my cans out, and then by 10 a.m. they're back in their place. He waits for the trash man, gets them emptied for me, and then puts them back. It's amazing.
He does not want to look at your trash cans.
No.
At all. I'm not looking at this fucking guy's
empty cans. Yeah.
What is it? It's 10:30 already. Where is he? So one of her neighbors was awakened by the sound of breaking glass. Sometime between 11:30 p.m. and 12:15 a.m. So you know exactly when the light went off, but you don't.
Got a 45-minute window for glass.
Yeah, 45-minute window for glass breaking. And would you wake up if glass broke not in your house?
And then go right the fuck back to sleep?
You'd go, what the fuck was that? I don't know.
That'd have to be a loud crash of glass to wake you up.
And then to actually stay awake, it would have to be in your house. Otherwise, you'd be like, wasn't in our house. Fuck it. Who cares? Back to sleep.
Who gives a shit? Note the time. Go to bed.
That's it. So that's on that 12:15 would be going into December 4th. And then December 5th, Mary Lou doesn't show up for work at the accounting firm. Okay. And December 6th, Mary Lou doesn't show up for work at the accounting firm. So her coworkers call the police department to say, can you we'll do a well check on this lady, and she works for us. She's very dependable, and she won't answer the phone or come to work. So we're a little worried about her here. She's not the one to kind of ghost her accounting job. It's not really her style. So she's very dependable. So they arrive at the house on the morning of Tuesday, December 6th. And the first thing they notice is at the back door, a pane of glass has been shattered. They do a perimeter first just to see if there's anything that looks like it's been broken into.
Right.
Or anything like that. If you need backup.
Probable cause, too, to be able to go in, you know what I mean?
If you're doing a well check, you remember our last one case where the lady didn't want to come out, but she had a murder. They were like, we're coming in and making sure no one's injured in there because we got a call, period. That's the law, and they kicked her out. So, yeah, it's a well check. They're going in either way, but I think they're doing to see what they might encounter in there doing a thing. If they see, a big window broken out with a something, a stool up there to climb in. They go, oh, wow, this looks pretty obvious.
There's that, and then also no sense in breaking another window when this one's already broken.
One right here, Bob. So they notice a pane of glass on the back door has been shattered, and they enter the house, and what they end up finding is Mary Lou's almost naked body here on her bedroom floor. Okay, kind of between the bed and the wall as well here. Her only clothing that she's wearing is a pajama top, which has been ripped open because buttons have been torn away from it. It's like a traditional pajama outfit with the button-down shirt, like you're going to work. I don't know why.
Some stripes on it.
Yeah, something like that, which makes no sense in pajamas to do that.
Very strange, yeah.
Make it nice and easy.
Dress
get
real
8
nice
buttons.
to get in bed.
Yeah, let me get 8 buttons. It's like a little suit. It's so weird. So she's just in that. It's been ripped open. 2 buttons are missing from the pajama top. So when it was torn open, they popped off. And they found one of the buttons on her bedroom floor as well. They never found the second button. It was never recovered. The bottoms of the pajamas were on her bed, and a pair of underwear were on the floor. So there had been some things going on here. They found 3 human hairs that didn't belong to her on the pajama top. So that's a pretty good place to start. Some animal hairs as well that could have been dog hairs, and some white fine animal hairs were also found at the scene. So 2 different animal hairs and 3 human hairs found on her and around her. So the cause of death is the other thing that they found around when they came in. There's all this. Around her neck is a nylon stocking.
Oh, boy.
Oh, by the way, her skull's been bashed in as well.
Why would you?
So multiple blunt force trauma to the head, strangulation by ligature. That is the cause of death here. All the testing for evidence of sexual assault came back negative. They found no other fluids in there or anything like that. So they don't know if there could have still been sexual assault.
Sure.
That's the thing. So they're not positive. But there's just no fluid there. She was struck 7 times on the head with a blunt object. So, I mean, this is just... Somebody really had it in. And there was a struggle, obviously. I mean, the clothes weren't like, put in one place, pants over here, underwear over here, shirt ripped. She's in between the bed and the wall. She's bashed in, strangled. It's a goddamn mess. This is really a mess. So she's been dead for 2 to 3 days. They're not sure exactly.
Right.
It's the other problem. And the thing they notice right away when doing the crime scene is they say she's always a tidy housekeeper. Everybody says her house is very tidy. She's an accountant. Everything in its place type of deal, Yeah. Jewelry was found out of place on her bedroom vanity and strewn on the bedroom floor. Bunch of jewelry, like just thrown everywhere, which is very strange. The 2 purses she used were missing. So no purses were found in the house, and they were never located. They never find the purses. A lot of her personal belongings, purse, credit cards, wallet, certain items of jewelry, all missing from her house. All gone.
Okay.
Certain items are missing, but there's some that's just scattered around. It's a very strange crime scene that they can't figure out. Who steals some of the jewelry?
Right.
Why would you do that? That doesn't make sense.
Unless you look through what's fake and what's real, but how do you know?
Has he got a loop in there? Who is this? Who is this guy? You know what I mean?
Right.
Is he coming in with a fucking loop going, all right, now that I've killed her, let me set up a workstation and really,
what's real, what's fake?
I don't know about this one. That's a fugazi. He's throwing it aside. Like, you really got to know your jewelry to do that. You have to be a smart person. So, well, maybe not because you're killing someone for it. So that takes away your intelligence right there.
All of it, yeah.
Knocks you right back down to stupid at that point. So the 2 drawers of a small vanity next to her bed had been opened, and 2 rings were on the floor. 2, that you wear, 2 rings. Right. The sliding glass door to the downstairs, the sliding door to the downstairs closet where she kept her purse was partially open. So that looks like it might have been open and then kind of half-ass closed, just somebody kind of pushed it.
Just flung, yeah.
Yeah. The middle drawer of a 7-drawer dresser as well. She had like a tall dresser with 7 drawers. The middle drawer, located opposite her bed, was also partially open. This drawer contained her underwear, pantyhose, and nylon stockings, including most likely the one that's around her neck. Yep. So this person got it from her, looked for it. Yeah. That's the other thing I got to say, too. And I hear this all the time. When we look at so many murder cases, you would be shocked how many murderers come completely fucking unprepared.
Not necessarily unprepared, just unarmed.
Unprepared. That's unprepared.
Yeah,
if you went to go fishing and you show up with no pole, you're unprepared. Yeah. Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to reach in and try to grab it? Like,
right.
You're going to have
take a rock and bludgeon a fish.
Yeah, you're going to have to grab a stick and try to fashion something. Like, that's what these people are. I'm going to look through your drawers.
Yeah.
Now
using your shoelaces as fishing line
with a big long stick. A lot of times when they see something like that, that will be evidence. Because every case is different, but they look at it as that's probably evidence that burglary was the main cause here, and they didn't expect to kill anybody. That's why they didn't come with weapons. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think if you
it rules out premeditation for sure. Right?
A little
Not
bit, but then because we've had plenty of cases where people do that. They come to murder someone with nothing. They use a kitchen knife out of the block. I mean, it happens all the time. So you can't be positive, but that's a sign of it anyway. So they also found blood. Not visible to the eye that they did, they did the luminol on and all that shit. It was discovered on the 4 bottom drawers of her dresser, including the drawer where the nylon stockings were kept. There's blood. So
it was like cleaned
on
up?
Those. Either that or it was a small amount that just kind of got smeared into the dresser, into the wood, kind of that sort of thing. And if it's a dark color dresser, it'll
disappear in a second.
Totally. You could see that if it's a little bit. They didn't know the source of this blood. It wasn't hers. That's all they could tell. This blood, not hers. So they're like, okay, that's a new one. Now, the hairs that they found. Here's some physical evidence here. They are 3 human Caucasian head hairs removed from her pajama top. 2 of the hairs were brown and had been naturally shed. Okay. So if whoever's here has got some... They're here for just in a quick strangle. They just shed 2 hairs on her. So, I mean, they might be losing their hair. Something to look for. I don't know. Well, one of the hairs was gray and had been forcibly removed. They could tell scientifically. Yanked out. FBI Special Agent Christopher Hopkins said that a forcibly removed hair is a hair that's not ready to be naturally shed since it's still actively growing in the scalp. Yep. There you go. That's how scientifically. They also testified later on, had all this evidence to testify to, that there's a number of ways that a hair could be forcibly removed. He said he couldn't be sure. You can tell it was forcibly removed, but he's not magic. He can't tell how it happened.
Right. Can't say why.
He said he couldn't ascertain these things. He doesn't know the amount of force used to remove the hair, because that would depend on the person's scalp, and you'd have to do a very complicated scientific lab scenario to figure that out. Whether the hair had been transferred directly or indirectly to her pajama top, he said, don't know if that's from the assailant, or if that might have been on the assailant from somewhere else, or if that might have been on her from the laundromat. We have no idea.
Excellent.
Also, he doesn't know when the hair had been removed. The other thing, I don't know that either. This could it have been the first responders? Not the yanked out one, probably, but someone could have shed 2 hairs on her. That's a thing that happens. And a lot of times, too, the other problem with the hairs is this is a thing they don't take into account enough, and especially back in 1991. A lot of times, you will get trace evidence that is not even from your scene or your victim. It will be the bag that they were in wasn't cleaned up enough, something in the morgue, something stuck to it. That happens all the time, and they're like,
well, how collecting it?
Yeah, it could be a guy collecting it, so they don't know. Anyway, about her, she sounds cool as shit. First of all, this is how her friend described her. She loved needlepoint, reading mystery thrillers, a good steak, cappuccino, cigarettes, antique shopping, her 2 cats, and the East Coast. She hated healthy food, exercise, sloppy clothes, a dirty house, and anyone who refused to balance their checkbooks, because she's an accountant.
Yeah.
So
sounds like our audience.
Yeah, I was just going to say, she would have fucking 100% listen to this show.
Yeah.
She would have a cheer up bitch tattoo right now. She absolutely would. Like, I'm not only sad that she's gone because that's a terrible thing, but I'm sad because I feel like we lost a listener. That's what it feels like. We could have
had a friend.
Yeah, it sounds like she would have been cool, liked us while she smokes and eats steaks, and was like, I want to see murder. Shut up and give me murder. She would have been cool. So anyway, the first person they look at for this is, they say, who has access to the house. That's a good thing. Well, her landlord lives right across the street, owns a couple of houses here. Now, landlord is Dr. Ronald Lang, Laing. He is a professor of ophthalmology at Boston University School of Medicine.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a lot.
That's impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's an impressive guy. He said he'll cooperate fine with the police. He's her landlord. He had access to her home. Obviously, he has opportunity, and they think a possible motive as well here. So they want to look at him right away. Okay. So Yeah, he is also the chairman of a local company and, like we said, a research professor at Boston University. He's 60 years old. He has reddish-orange hair, so definitely Caucasian. He lives also on Massachusetts Avenue, about 6 houses down from Mary Lou. So he owned her house as well as the house in front of it across the street at 917 Massachusetts Avenue, and then he lived also down the street. So he's got
doing well.
He's doing very well. He's a goddamn doctor. He should be doing well. If you go to medical school and do all that shit and then you don't do well, you have fucked up. Because you owe a lot of money, so you better make good on that shit.
Stop gambling, you fuck.
Exactly. Enough with the coke. You went to medical school. You know how bad that shit is for you. Stop doing it. God damn it. Jesus Christ. So the landlord here, he had found Mary Lou attractive and had asked her for dates a few different times. But she always refused. Yeah, come on, Mr. Furley. What are you doing here?
As a guy, as a guy
60 years old.
Right. She's got to check to you every month.
She's 49. I mean, it's age appropriate and all that. But she said no. So it's fine to ask once. They're both educated people. He's a professor. She's an accountant. It makes sense. But if she doesn't like you, move on, bro.
It doesn't make sense because you're her landlord.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in that case,
creepy.
That's great. I just meant in general. It's not like he's 60 and she's like going to the college. You know? Right. She's a freshman and he's like, listen, honey, I'll take you to drive-in movies. I'll take you for a malt. That's not what we're talking about.
Age isn't appropriate, but the association sure in the fuck is. Don't fuck your landlord and don't fuck your tenant. That's
on this show. This is as less creepy as it gets because everything's creepy on this show. As it is creepy, you shouldn't try to fuck your tenants at all. But and she refused.
Good.
She wanted nothing to do with him. And, she, I guess the day she was discovered, December 6th, he was talking to the tenant at 917, which is the house across the street. And the tenant went to speak to him about repairs he needed to do. And the landlord asked the tenant, have you seen Mary Lou? And the tenant said, no, I haven't. And also the tenant said that he thought it was strange that she hadn't gone to work. And maybe she's sick. Her car's in the driveway. She hasn't gone to work. Maybe she's sick. The landlord replied, quote, I think she went to California.
What?
Yeah. And then the tenant said, well, her car is still here, so, maybe not. And he said she could have taken a cab to the airport. I mean, what are we talking about here?
She could have walked to California.
She could have walked to California. You don't know. She's following Forrest Gump. We don't know what she's doing. So when interviewed by police on December 6th, this was after Mary Lou had been discovered, obviously. Otherwise, they'd have clairvoyance if they talked to him. We want to talk to you about a future murder. He informed the police that he had been in her home on November 29th, was the last time he'd been there, to perform requested repairs. This was a authorized visit. The victim here, Mary Lou, had left him a note on December 28th, which he gave to the police. He said, this is the note. And, he listed the necessary repairs, and he said he attended to them, and he wrote her a note telling her, I fixed the shit that you wanted. It's here. So he said he entered the house by using his own keys, and in attempting to repair a leak, he went into the bedroom and opened the middle drawer of her dresser, the lingerie drawer.
Why would you do that, you dirty weirdo?
And, quote, reached inside to move the dresser because he was going to move it away from the wall in her bedroom to fix a leak on the other side. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah,
I got to cut through the drywall here.
Well, if it's tile on the backside, that's a bitch to repair.
It is.
So you just
the drywall's easier.
Yeah. Also, it's New England, so that's fucking.
It might be plaster.
That's a bastard to repair.
It might be plaster. We don't know when it was built. Yeah, it might be plaster, but either way. So he went into her bedroom, and the one drawer he moved to try to move her dresser is her lingerie drawer.
Yeah.
A woman he's asked out a couple of times.
That's
weird. I think he went in there to look at her fucking underwear. Let's be honest here.
He went in there to smell her underwear.
Yeah, I was going to look at I was going real light on that. That's the least gross thing he could have done here. So he said he did that, but he ultimately decided against moving the dresser, he said, but he needed to get a grip on it to see how, so he had to open the drawer and touch it with his hands.
Maybe it was heavier than he thought, James.
Well, that's what he said. It was too heavy to move, and also he said it was so heavy, it's probably going to scratch up the wood floors if he tries to move it alone. So you need to pick it up to move it so it doesn't scratch the floors. So he pushed in the drawer and obviously just went right back to repairs. He didn't go through her underwear or anything like that.
I'm not a cop, and I want to arrest this fuck right now.
Yeah, it gets creepy here.
Oh, boy.
When asked about, they asked him, well, what did you see in that drawer that you touched? Because you said you opened up a drawer. So if the fingerprints are in your bedroom, it might be yours because you opened up the drawer. What was in that drawer there? He said, this is the landlord. He answers back, quote, why? Was she strangled with a nylon stocking?
What did you do? What?
None of that had been released to the public. That was the stocking was the thing they kept secret for the, for the murderer, basically. That's the thing they didn't release to the public, was she strangled with a nylon stocking. They just said blunt force trauma.
Let's assume that this is just a dummy that just blurts out dumb shit and just happened to be right.
Why was she he's not a dummy, though. We know that.
With a nylon or some shit? Why?
We know he's a very, very intelligent man. That's the thing here. So there's that, which is odd. Very, very odd, which makes me think one of two things. Either A, he did this, or B, he went in there at some point to creep on her and look through her shit when he thought she wasn't home, and then discovered her and took the fuck off because he didn't want to be seen as this creepy guy who was just breaking into his tenant's apartment. And so I feel like that's either one of the two. We'll find out which one it is here. So they ask him about his actions on the weekend of the murder, obviously. Where the fuck were you? We need to know. Creepy guy with his hand in her underwear drawer. What's going on?
Who knows way too much about how she was killed.
Yeah, who knows the exact manner of death of her. He said he had, quote, a real problem with dates and times. It just, you know how it is. You know how it is, right, Jimmie? I go, where were you last weekend? You're like, I don't know. It could be anywhere. Could have been in Boston. I could have been in, I don't know. I'm not sure. Cheyenne is nice this time of year. I'm not positive where I was. Could have been anywhere. So he said that he thought he'd been at 917 that weekend, the house across the street, doing roofing work. But then eventually he said, I don't think I was at 915 or 917. I don't think I did any work on the places on December 3rd. So I don't think I did. He also said that he had, quote, been, this sounds awful in context, he had, quote, not been near her back door in a long time.
Okay.
Which sounds disgusting. So he says, though, he was concerned that because of his repair work, his fingerprints would definitely be on her closet doorknob and her dresser and on the bathroom sink and vanity.
Yeah.
He's like, so, I mean, obviously I want to talk to you guys because my fingerprints are going to be all over all the places that they would be if I strangled her with a nylon stocking. So,
I would certainly be looking in that closet. I would certainly be in that drawer. And I would probably be in the vanity washing my hands of all the horrible shit I just did.
Just going to say, I'd probably be washing off the blood from the blunt force trauma I caused to her head. So,
What an asshole.
I mean, he's making it pretty bad here. So, the night of the actual murder that they think the murder happened, from the 3rd to the 4th, that's their premise they're going with here. He tells police that he attended an office holiday party at a Braintree hotel with his fiance. And by the way, he's asking out tenants while he's got a fiance.
What the fuck? Dude?
Just note that, because she just got there 3 months ago and he's already asked her out multiple times and he's got a fiance. So he's just a scumbag, obviously. And that he said that was December 3rd from about 7 to 10 p.m. He returned to his house there in Lexington after the party. He said he watched some TV, quote, made love to his fiance, and went to sleep around midnight. And he said on Sunday, worked at home, kicked around the house, spent some time with the lady, and that's it, man. Don't know what you're talking about. No murder in there at all. Did you notice that?
Didn't say anything about murder.
No. He does say that he will provide police with his photograph and fingerprints, and he does give the fingerprints. None of his fingerprints were found in the house, oddly enough.
Weird.
Yeah, she must have been a cleaner. That's all we can think.
Right,
Other stuff concerning the landlord was that he told his fiance, like right when they heard about the murder, that he believed that Mary Lou was, quote, strangled with a pair of stockings and probably raped.
Boy, oh boy.
And that the back window had been broken, the way he put it, probably to make it look like a break-in. Okay. So he knew everything immediately, like that happened here, which is very strange. Now, the landlord's fiance, she says that she fell asleep on December 3rd at the start of Saturday Night Live and didn't see him again till 10 o'clock the next morning.
Okay.
So we know SNL comes on at 11:30. He said that they watched some TV, banged, and went to sleep around midnight was his fucking whole thing. And she said, I don't know, I was asleep by 11:30. And maybe, I don't know, whatever. She didn't see him till 10 o'clock the next morning. That's a great night's sleep, by the way.
It really is.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmie had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. Yeah. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's SONOBELLO.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
But so, I mean,
that's 11 hours almost.
11 hours of, that's it. She also said she considered herself a very heavy sleeper. Not much woke her up.
Yeah.
And she stated that her fiance here, she would say he put him as an insomniac who often got up at night to work or to go out and drive around.
Whoa.
Okay. I sleep like shit. You know that. I never get up to go drive around in the middle of the night. You know who does that?
Psychos.
Fucking serial killers do that. Nobody, you don't go drive around in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
especially in New Hampshire, you're gonna hit a fucking deer. Nobody does that. You try not to drive around in rural areas at night.
Yeah, I wouldn't drive around in the middle of the night there for fear of hitting a tree because there's so many. You stay on the road, you might still hit a tree.
And really go down this dark, windy road that deer run out of all the time. It seems like a good deal. A lot of trees to hit, no guardrail. It's going to be excellent. That's what. So all of these things are adding up to some shit here. During the week following when Mary Lou was killed, he also told his fiance that he was, quote, upset that she told the police about his insomnia and night wanderings because they, quote, made him sound guilty. Uh-huh. And he expressed, quote, concern that his fingerprints had been found in the house and that he had keys to the house.
Sure. I'd be concerned, too.
I'd be real concerned at this point. He told another person, a former colleague, that the police, quote, probably found his fingerprints on the victim's dresser and that when he was in her room to do repair work, he also picked up the telephone on the night table and slipped and knocked it over. So his fingerprints would be on that as well, he's saying. So he's
I don't like how many things he's touching in there.
He's touching everything. Don't let anyone in your house unless you're there.
As a landlord that's just doing repairs, like he's the fix-it guy too. He doesn't even hire somebody to do it. You know what I mean?
Nope.
I don't like that at all.
He'll come do it. No, you know it's not done right. It's patched up. This guy, he's a fucking ophthalmologist. He's not a goddamn. Right. He's not a fucking
one
plumber.
Or two. That's what he does.
Yeah. 1, 2, 2, 1. 2. Okay, 2. Yeah, there you go.
3 or 4.
Hold on. Hurry up. I got to go fix somebody's plumbing.
You're going to change a P valve.
Now, that's funny. In the landlord's past, so they do some delving into this guy's past because he's pretty interesting. There is evidence of several instances of his what they call sexual aggression toward women, including evidence of a rape allegation against him made 7 years beforehand.
Oh, no.
And evidence that women's lingerie and sexually explicit photographs of former girlfriends were found in his home. Now,
what's that?
I don't know what's up with the lingerie, and I don't know, maybe he likes to wear it. And the sexually explicit photographs, that could be very innocent, though. I mean,
it could, but why would you?
He's a creep. He's a fucking creep. He likes to take
weirdo.
creepy pictures, and he likes to have, I don't know what he's fucking doing here. I feel like he jerks off into lingerie. That's what I feel like he's doing, and that's what he did at her house, too.
I mean, I've had pictures of ex-girlfriends and such, but those go the fuck away when they go away. You know?
Yeah.
I don't want to keep that and remember her. She was an asshole.
That's true. Yeah. It's so funny because back then, now people with nude pictures of whatever, like everybody's got pictures because you have phones and shit. Yeah. Whereas back then, you had to take that to get developed. Like if you had nude, it was like, oh my God, you let them take nude pictures of you? That was like a huge, very perverse thing because you let some guy at the photomat see your pussy too. So it was different.
As soon as like a nice camera came out, people that had Polaroids, that's what I thought of them. Was like, why do you have that? Why do you need like to private develop that? You fucking weirdo. Why do you still have
what
that?
Are you doing?
What is that about?
Jesus Christ. So his fiance here also says that in 1987, after she had broken up with him, they'd been together a long time. She had broken up with him during that time. He entered her house using his own key shortly before midnight. When she came into when she came into her bedroom, he pushed her on the bed, tried to rip her blouse off, ripping 3 of the buttons that broke free, forced her to have sex with him twice, and also oral sex once, and then also attempted anal intercourse with her.
Yikes.
Then made her, quote, this is right from the court document, quote, wash his penis in the shower.
In the last time that he raped somebody, that's what happened?
That's his fiance he did that to.
Oh, my God.
That he's still with. That's his fiance they were together, and that was in 1987 that happened. And she's still with him 7 years later. This is while she broke up with him. Somehow, they didn't stay broken up after that, which is, I don't even know.
That's a very traumatic experience to take that
fucking
back.
That's horrible. Jesus Christ. Oh, and then he also ordered her to take her clothes off before the sex and took sexually explicit photographs of her.
Wow.
So he pushed her down, ripped her clothes off, and ordered her to pose for pictures, and then raped her multiple times.
That is a very aggressive human being.
I would fucking say so. And then made her wash his penis in the shower, which you can't wash your own dick, sir.
Right. That's
fucking
an extra
scumbag.
step that's like just so much, as if that wasn't humiliating enough. Now you're going to make me.
Disgusting. What a
Yikes.
piece of shit. She asked him if he'd come to kill her. Have you come to kill me? Or is this all that you're going to do to me? And he said no, but if she, quote, did anything, he would cut the penis off her boyfriend. Because I guess she had started seeing somebody else because they were broken up.
What the fuck?
I'm not going to kill you, but I'll take anything that you do out on your boyfriend, who I'll cut his dick off. Another woman that they found said that when she rejected his advances on a date, he put her in, quote, some type of hold, and she was unable to move until she finally struggled and he released her. Oh, my God, this guy sounds awful. A third woman said that when he, quote, quote, could not handle emotionally being contradicted, was very bossy. So you couldn't contradict the guy at all. It's professor style.
Don't you argue with me.
That's some professor shit. I'm in control of this classroom. How dare you? Was very bossy, she said, and would not accept other people's barriers. meaning one time he, quote, rubbed up against her breasts intentionally and inappropriately. She considered him a, quote, very angry and scary man who would get angry if she did not give in to his demands. That's terrifying. What a terrifying man.
Bad man.
Fourth woman says that he often made what he would do is he'd make his dates work in the yard.
What?
He'd have dates and he'd make them do yard work.
Get out there and pull my weeds?
She said in a court document, treated them as slave labor, was what she said.
What time do we go to dinner? As soon as you're done mowing the lawn.
Come on, Jesus Christ, get the mulch going, and then we can go out already.
What the fuck?
What? That's not
I never
dates.
even considered that.
I've never considered.
I didn't know that was an option.
I'm going to go out with this chick. Maybe when we're done with dinner, she'll clean my house. Like, I've never thought of that for a second. We're on a date. I'm not trying to make you do work.
What time's dinner? I don't know. When can you get here to do my laundry?
I mean, I got a lot of housework that you need to do first, so I'm not sure.
My kids were just here. My house is a disaster. Get here as quick as you can.
Here. My toilet is it's a mess. It looks like there's there's shit impact marks on it. Like they dropped it out of an airplane in there. It's terrible. You got to clean my toilet.
I mean, I give him credit. I would have never thought of that.
I don't know if credit's the right word.
Care of.
I don't know if credit's the right word, but you give him, I guess he's got ingenuity, I suppose. I mean,
I've got shit falling apart at my house, James. I need a roofer.
Oh, shit. You got problems over here. I don't know if he's making them do roofing or plumbing, but they're at least weeding and edging.
At minimum, maybe I can get him to be handle some clerical shit with my HOA and get some stuff approved.
Possibly. Yeah, that's possible. Oh, my God.
This is unbelievable.
Another woman who was a potential tenant.
What? Why?
She was a potential tenant. She said that several months, this was a few months prior to Mary Lou Sale's murder, she'd been negotiating to rent the premises that she eventually rented. So she would have been in this apartment. She said when she refused to work in the yard for a return. So this is corroborated.
Yeah.
When she refused to work in the yard in return for a reduction in rent, he said, "Well, do some yard work for me and I'll reduce your rent." Wow. She telephoned him to state that she wasn't going to do that. She said, quote, he became upset, threatened her, and told her, quote, there would be consequences.
Wow.
Then he came to her home, because he had her address from the rental application, and continued to argue.
Dude,
it's over.
The weeds, lady.
She called it alarming and frightening.
Yeah.
And she said that at the same time, simultaneously, he would argue with her about that. Then he would call her up and ask her for dates at the same time.
Wow.
She'd be like, listen, I don't want to talk about the yard work. He's like, oh, no, this isn't about the yard work. You want to go grab a bite? Like, and then we'll argue about, those are separate things. You got to separate your worlds. Yeah. There's a business relationship we have as a tenant and a potential yard work doing tenant and then a landlord. And then there's also one where boyfriend, girlfriend. We're trying to work on separate levels here.
I can't believe how many people in his past have something to say about him negative.
Yeah. It's pretty goddamn crazy. Also, that's wild. So he also said he would do DNA tests. He said, I'm perfectly willing to do polygraph testing and DNA testing. And then he withdraws his consent and refuses to do these tests.
Yeah.
Then he disappears.
Uh-huh.
Disappears. Takes off from town.
He's not suspicious at all.
Not at all. This guy seems not suspicious at all. Then there's a newspaper article on him after he disappears where he did an interview with someone here. There's an article by Beth Daly here, and they said that he blames media attention for forcing him out of his home because he's had to take off. He said he's still cooperating with police, even though he won't do a polygraph or DNA. He doesn't add that part. They've been camped in front of his house. He denies any involvement in the case. He said the period since the tragic death of Mary Lou Sale has been an ordeal for everyone. The town of Lexington, the family of Mary Lou, myself, and the people dear to me. I'm trying to continue with my normal routine and with people who depend on me. Unfortunately, because of media attention, my house can no longer be my home. I continue to be available to and cooperate with the Lexington Police Department and would hope that any of my fellow citizens who may have seen or heard something would do the same. And that's what he said.
Okay.
So He's the main suspect at that point.
Yeah, there's 5 women. It's too many women.
It makes a lot of sense until they pick up a drunk at McDonald's. They pick up a guy who's drunk at McDonald's, okay? He's an alcohol. No, he's shit. You see a guy shit hammered at McDonald's. He had to do that well ahead of time.
That's a big day for him.
Well, he works at McDonald's, mind you.
Oh,
he's the fry cook. He drops the fries and flips the burgers here.
And he's hammered doing this.
Shit face doing his thing here. His name is Craig Conkey. Craig W. Conkey with Craig and Conkey, both C's.
Yeah.
So he's born in 1967. So he's fucking in his 20s here, mid-20s. He works at McDonald's, as we talk about. He's lived in Lexington for about 2 years. He's an Army veteran. He was in the Army for about 3 years, and he works at the Bedford McDonald's as a cook here. Recently, he's been a patient at the Bedford Veterans Administration Hospital for a month for undisclosed reasons that they wouldn't tell because it's medical. He was also brought to the same hospital December 8th, 2 days after the murder, after Bedford police found him wandering the McDonald's parking lot where he works, quote, drinking and disoriented. So they picked him up, they bring him in, they fingerprint him when they bring him in, and there's also fingerprint cards from New Hampshire that we'll talk about here. He's a guy, he grew up in Dorchester, New Hampshire, graduated from Mascoma Valley Regional High School in 1985. They say that people remember him as a, quote, polite young teenager. They said he loved to fish and would walk down the street with his rod and his bucket all the time. You'd see him off going fishing. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Sounds like he doesn't own shoes.
Right. New Hampshire Andy Griffith.
It's what it is here. He said, quote, there's a friend of his from back in the day, and he would have it full of fish whenever he returned.
Wow.
So, good fisherman. The guy said he asked Craig once how he was so successful at catching fish, and he says, quote, you just have to react the moment they touch the line. And he said that's easier said than done, though, so you got to be good at that. They described him as a smart, lean kid who would walk around in just a short-sleeve shirt up until it's like 10 degrees outside. Wow. He's one of those guys. I don't know, my arms don't. I'm just not cold. My chest, I don't get cold, and
as long as my nipples are covered, I'm fine.
I don't know. I'm okay with it. They just put their hands in their pocket and they're like, no, I'm good. I have my hands in my pocket. It's fine.
You can see
one of those guys. Yeah. Literally. It's freezing in New Hampshire in the fall. So he also said that he describes him as, quote, always polite, always a gentleman, and always pleasant. Okay. This man's wife said she taught 5th and 6th grade and to him at elementary school and said, super nice kid, super polite, nice kid. Some of the neighbors who knew him, because he's from New Hampshire, said he was quiet and he kept to himself. Others said occasionally they saw him act irrationally, yelling at no one and making gestures at people that aren't even talking to him.
Fun guy
here, which sounds like he's probably drunk when he's doing that. Yeah. That's what drunk people do. And then she said that. Yeah, I was like, how do you know? Hey, fuck you, buddy. Somebody else walking by, you're like, whoa, that dude is
who are you talking to? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, owner of the Deli Mart near his home, the Lexington Deli Mart, so I assume where he would stop in and get booze and shit like that, said, quote, he was quiet, nice. I used to work at McDonald's too, and we'd talk about it. He was quieter after the murder, but still the same. He just never talked about any murders. So, he just wasn't like, which is a sign that he didn't do anything if he's not going and gossiping about the murders. That's either that or he's smart if he did do it. So, they said, though, he always carried a book with him that he was reading at the time. Even when he was going fishing, he always had a book with him. This guy said sometimes he'd stop and talk to him. And he says, what I mostly remember is that he loved to read. He was kind of quiet. He was an ordinary guy, old Conkey here. He's also kind of quiet, ordinary guy, also arrested in 1990 for sexual assault.
Oh.
After grabbing a woman in a convenience store in Concord, New Hampshire, and trying to, make off with her.
He tried to kidnap somebody?
Sort of. I guess he was groping and tried to pull her over for some sexual whatever the fuck. And, he gets arrested for sexual assault for that.
Lord.
And he's currently a fry cook at McDonald's. He has no criminal record in Massachusetts, although since he's been here the last 2 years, he is a suspect in an assault on a woman riding a bus who was groped in her thighs and her crotch.
Lord, man.
Now, somebody from the Bedford Police Department said they had picked him up 2 or 3 times from the McDonald's after he was drunk and disorderly in the parking lot. So
Several times.
Several times. He works there, so they don't want him. They don't press charges on him or anything. So they just take him home, right. But they know that he's a mess. He's just a guy they pick. He's the drunk that works at McDonald's. We pick him up stinking of French fries 3 times a week. He's that guy.
Who leaves work, goes and gets booze, and goes back to work to sit there.
Back to McDonald's, or he brings booze to McDonald's.
Gets off work.
The other
and
thing.
He's just hammered and doesn't want to walk home yet.
Nope, just getting hammered in the parking lot so he can yell at people who come into the drive-thru. So they canvassed the neighborhood police. They interviewed Conkey because Conkey lives 5 doors down from Mary Lou Sale.
Oh?
He lives in the neighborhood. So they interview him December 10th and December 17th at the McDonald's that he works at in Bedford. He's worked at the McDonald's for 2 years, by the way. He's been there. Yeah. He also told police, Conkey, that he's never seen Mary Lou Sale around the neighborhood. He's never been in her home, and he has no information regarding her death. I just live near, I work at McDonald's, I get drunk in the parking lot.
This is why the sex offender registry is so fantastic, because these are 2 scumbags living on the same fucking street.
That's what I mean. What is it with this? What is it with this street? You're triangulated predators.
In that neighborhood that those 2 assholes live in.
Yeah. If you live in between these 2 people, it's like a fucking, a victim sandwich that you're making with rape bread.
This is not good.
Yeah, you don't want a victim sandwich with rape bread.
Would you like
That's
that
a
on
bad bread. Yeah, would you like that on rape or rye? That's not right. White or rape.
Oh, boy.
Oh, not good. So on December 21st, the police obtain a faxed copy of his fingerprint card from New Hampshire. Yeah. Where he has a criminal record, like we said, for a sexual assault. And on December 29th, 1994, police match a latent fingerprint found inside her bedroom, Mary Lou Sale's bedroom, to Conkey's left ring finger.
What the fuck, man?
So that's not good.
He's been in her house. They
identify that and a palm print, a partial palm print as well.
Oh.
And this is in her bedroom, on her bedroom door. So they immediately refocus their shit. They push the landlord aside for a minute, even though he sounds like the guiltiest man ever to walk the face of the fucking earth. It's almost like if someone else did this, he was going there to do it and found it already done. The landlord. Like he walked in, he's like, I'm going to strangle her, I'm going to rape her, I'm going to do all this. He walked in, he's like, oh man, fuck, somebody had my idea. That's what it seems like. He's such an asshole. So
it's like a comic writing the best joke ever that he's ever written, and then he goes to an open mic, and somebody else is doing that joke.
Somebody who sucks is doing it and bombing with it, and you're like, oh, not only did he steal it, he didn't even do it well. So they interview more than 100 people in this case, though. Everybody here. Conkey, like we said, was questioned a couple of times here. Then they asked him to come back in to do some fingerprinting, and that's when they said he never showed up. Okay. He just never showed up for that. Neighbors around the whole deal said that they didn't even know he was a convicted sex offender. Like maybe they should have been made aware of that. Right. Of the other guy too. He said, one of them said, quote, I think we have a right to know. We should know if someone like this is living among us.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why they do that. So on the evening of December 29th, 1994, State Trooper Peter Sennett and Lieutenant Stephen Corr went to speak with Conkey at his apartment on Massachusetts Avenue. He's at 855.
Okay.
She was at 915.
Jesus, right there.
Right. It's 5 doors down, I think, here. Now, Conkey reiterates that he never met her and said, quote, I was never in that house. 100% never, I'm sure. Which means that you did it if you do that. Whenever people do that, 100%, that means you're guilty.
Never been in the house? Why is your hand in there then?
Yeah, otherwise you just go, I never went in her house.
You have the longest arms in history.
Yeah, you are. Wow, that's impressive, man. Has someone cut off your left ring finger? Let me ask you that.
How did you stand on the street and touch her door?
Did they just put it in their pocket and save it for later and then use it? So, he said that he tells the cops that he left work early on Saturday, December 3rd, because he had injured his hip the day before. And then on the evening of the 3rd, he went for a walk in the neighborhood, but he didn't go near her house.
Okay.
I didn't go near Mary Lou's house, even though it's 5 doors down. They then asked him, Craig, what would you do if we told you that we had something of yours that was found inside Mary Lou's house? It's got you all over, just like it's a driver's license. What if we told you that?
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. Never been in the house. He said, I'd like to speak to my landlord now, which that's not a lawyer, first of all. I'd like to speak to my landlord now. You got to stop questioning now.
You sure he wasn't drunk and he said lawyer? Tried to say lawyer and said landlord?
A man's right to a landlord is sacred in the Constitution.
I know my rights. I can talk to my landlord. And I call him, you can't talk to me no more.
It's so weird. So he does talk to the landlord, but lets the police overhear him.
Okay.
It's like he didn't even go away. He said, quote, to the landlord, quote, they think I did it. I don't want to tell them that because I'll get involved. I was outside her home. I heard a scream. I went in. I don't want to tell them that because I'll get involved.
Great. The rent's still due
I
on
went
the
in.
15th.
Yeah. Okay. Why are you telling me this, McDonald's person? He doesn't own a car. A couple facts about him, so he gets around always walking. He also, by a bunch of people he knows, is an admitted burglar who, quote, liked the challenge of breaking into homes while they were occupied.
Oh, my God.
Why would you like that? That's a monster. So, anyway, they talked to him. He gave them his account of the night, retraced for them the route he'd walked that night. Because remember, he said he took a walk. Right. They then asked him to go to the station let's put this in writing at the station just so we have a statement to put in with the rest of them. And he said, I'm not coming there and writing shit.
Then you can hold that against me in a court of law.
Yeah. So they were like,
landlord told me.
Yeah. So he said, I'm not doing that. My landlord, he tells me everything. And he said we can beat this case. I trust him. I don't know what it is. I just trust him. At this point, they say, look, we have evidence that you were in the goddamn house. You need to make a statement. And then he said, all right, this is what happened. Tell you what, I was in the house. Yeah, I was there. I was there the night of December 3rd and 4th, as a matter of fact. But when I came in there, she's already dead.
Okay, that's what he's
already dead.
Now.
That's what his story. 2 people go, already dead when I got there. So he said that he touched the body at the neck, which according to him was bloody. And this was to feel for a pulse there. He's like, I felt for a pulse. He said then he picked up the phone to contact the cops. He's like, oh my God, I better call the police. But then he changed his mind. He said, what am I talking about? I can't call the cops. I broke in here. I can't call the cops. He said then he washed the blood off his hands in her bathroom sink. He then, this is how he explains how he got into the house and why he was there. Because it was a totally innocent reason he was there, by the way. He didn't break in to kill her or rape her or steal shit even. He didn't even try to burgle her. Nothing.
He just wanted to see the couch.
Just checking to see he wanted to see how she had her living room set up. Because he was like, I want to put my TV over here, but I don't. Yeah, the light comes through okay in this. Okay, never mind. I like the way she's got this. He said he went out walking between 9 p.m. and midnight. Very big window. Yeah. At one point, he says he paused to smoke a cigarette in a wooded area near her house. Why would you stop your walk to smoke a cigarette in a wooded area? Why wouldn't you just keep smoking on your walk or stop and stand around? Why would you dip into the woods to smoke a cigarette unless you're 12?
Are you hiding from your mom?
Yeah, so I mean, unless you're 13. Right. I don't understand this logic here.
Is there somebody that doesn't want you smoking man. Somewhere? Yeah.
He's like 27 years old at this point. I feel like can smoke what he wants. So he said that he's smoking in a wooded area near the house. It's at that moment that he heard a woman scream.
Oh.
He heard a scream and he goes, oh my God, I better go over there and see what that's about.
Yeah.
Which is always what you do when you're on the street.
Get over there, Superman.
He's like, I got to see what this is. He said he entered the home by putting his hand inside a broken pane of glass in the rear door. It was already open, so I just went in and opened it. The glass was broken already. He said that I went in and that's what I saw. I found her in there. I was like, oh my God. I checked her neck, pulse. Oh shit. I better call the cops. Oh no. Wash my hands, leave, pretend it never happened. Then you guys talk to me.
Not a good story.
So they have two people with equally implausible stories.
Yeah.
Which story is more implausible? I don't even know. I honestly don't know.
Who both have seen the body before we did. Both of them.
That's what I mean. One has his hand, he said himself that he went in her lingerie drawer and knew that she was strangled with a nylon. This guy says, I heard a scream and walked in. Like, neither of these stories are good stories.
One of them put his hand on and claimed the murder weapon, and the other one touched the body. Like, this is not good.
By their own accounts, by the way. This isn't even what they're trying to pin on them. This is their I'm innocent stories.
Right.
This is crazy.
I touched a dead body is one guy's story.
Wow. So then they find out that from McDonald's that he called his workplace that night. Oh. The night of the 3rd at 10:41 p.m. He called McDonald's up to say he wasn't going to be in the following morning.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be in. So they said that because they don't know how to deal with this, because they're like, it seems to be part sexual motive, maybe some robbery, or maybe that was to make it look like a robbery because it's not everything was stolen. They're very confused here, very confused. They said that it was, like we said, 7 blows to the head and all of that shit. By the way, too, he admitted to Conkey has a girlfriend who we'll talk about. He told her that when he went into the house, he went in with the large flashlight as well, by the way. Oh. That was one of the things he said he entered, because he had it with him on his walk. You know, It's dark out there when you're smoking in the woods. So he said while he was smoking in the woods, the scream he heard lasted several seconds. And he thought, because they said, well, what did you hear and when did you go in? And he said, well, I thought it was coming from that house. I figured it was domestic violence, so I figured I better go up and see what was going on.
Yeah, I better fix this.
Better not call the cops or anything. I better go, like, just open the back door and make sure everybody's calmed down now. Everybody calm? All right. I don't want to have to come back here. Call the cops.
It was possible DV, and that's the least amount of times that people get murdered in those situations. So
Never.
I figured I'd just go over there and stop the little argument.
Why bring the cops into this? They're
the least
busy.
opportunity of anybody to get hurt is in those situations.
So none of the other neighbors, even the ones who lived right next door to her, heard the sound of glass breaking or a scream around that time, by the way, early. Yeah. The other one, as we know, the two neighbors nearby, they said they were awoken by glass breaking at 11:30, but not that early, and midnight, between 11:30 and midnight, and they said they usually kept their windows open slightly, and the sound of breaking glass, they said another neighbor said they heard the sound of breaking glass between 1 and 2 a.m. So those are anywhere between 11:30 and 2 a.m. That could happen. Yeah, that's a long time. So he said anyway, back to Conkey, he entered the home due to the scream, concerned, obviously. He's a concerned citizen.
Great citizen.
Yeah, he said that he was concerned, but he didn't put his cigarette out and rush right over there. He said he finished his cigarette first and then was like, well, I better go see what's happening. I mean, I had to see there. Like, what are they, $2 a pack back then?
They're $2.25 a pack right now, man.
Yeah, well, that's about what he's making an hour at this point, so he's can't be doing that. He said that at no point did he see anyone leaving the front or back doors of the home, and he also saw no one leave the home after the scream. And then once inside the house, he said he didn't see anyone else there except for Mary Lou. But he told his girlfriend in a separate thing that he, quote, saw a shadow in the house. Saw a shadow go by.
House. Oh, my God.
I got in there, and then they must have ran out. Like, he was still in the killer's still in the house. Oh, no. Oh, boy. Once he found the body, he said he didn't contact the police because, quote, he didn't want to get involved. He'll rush up to the house of a current ongoing domestic violence situation and break in literally to get involved, but he doesn't want to call the cops when there's been a murder. Are you out of your... Come on, man.
And possibly the murderer just ran right by you. And you don't...
Yeah, could still be in the neighborhood.
You're super involved already.
He could attack you on your walk home.
Right.
You have to walk home.
He's willing to murder. He already knows that.
Yeah. He said that's why, I took a minute to get into the house originally was, I didn't want to get involved. He said just checked to do a pulse. He said there was a very little blood on the neck there. He said that he had blood all over his hands from touching her neck, but in the crime scene photos, there's not a lot of blood on her neck. There's only a little bit. He told police that he did not see anything unusual about her neck, yet the evidence says that it was tightly bound with pantyhose, and you would have noticed that. Yeah. He also said that he washed his hands in the sink. The bathroom faucet and sink tested positive for blood, but no blood was found on the telephone. So he never I grabbed the phone, maybe I should call. Never mind. But he did wash his hands.
I am riveted.
His supervisor at McDonald's said that he left work about 11 a.m. on December 3rd, about 1.5 hours prior to the end of his shift.
Just leave early?
Left early, then called the restaurant that night at 10:41, saying he had fallen and hurt himself and he would not be coming into work the following day. And he didn't come into work on the 4th. So Barbara Tucker, who's a coworker of him, and also been his girlfriend here for about 3 years.
Yeah.
In addition to that, she said that on the morning of December 13th, which is 10 days after the murder, she saw Conkey take a closed bowling ball bag from his closet. She asked him repeatedly what was in the bag, and all he would reply was nothing. Uh-huh. So he's like the kid in Parenthood.
Right.
It's nothing, and he just runs out the door.
Don't worry about it.
When she dropped him off for work one morning, he was holding the bag, and then she never saw it again. Okay, so he had a bag, get rid of something. So once they match up his fingerprints to a place, right, they think they got their guy with Conkey, so they go ahead and arrest him here.
Okay, I'm not sure, but go on.
They go ahead and arrest Conkey. You'll be more sure in a minute. Don't worry. Okay. There's a huge, massive twist coming in this twice up. Two more big ones here. So they said they walked with, this is how they decided to arrest him. They walked with him from his home to the house. They said, well, show us exactly what you did that night. Show us the route you took. Where'd you smoke your cigarette?
Yeah.
You heard this, you saw that, you went there. So this cop says, we walked along with him, let him explain what he had to say. When he was done, we arrested him. We're like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. You're under arrest. He said he has his version and we have ours. And ours is that he's under arrest and he's going to be prosecuted for first-degree murder. That's a great fucking line. He also says it was a difficult and unusual investigation. We didn't get to the body until 2 days after the fact, so that obviously didn't help. Now, while he's in jail here, Lexington detectives who charge him with the murder, they go to Plymouth, New Hampshire to talk about him a little bit, and they talk with detectives up there because there's a lot of similarities in the Teresa Reed and Mary Lou Sale cases. Both women were found next to their beds in their apartments where they lived alone. Only difference is the stabbing and the strangulation, but there's also 3 years a spread there. So they said that he lived about 6 miles from the college campus when she was killed, Teresa Reed, in 1991. And that's the fingerprints from New Hampshire are how they connected him to the murder in Lexington. But they say there's not enough evidence to do this. It's all just circumstantial. The women were found next to the bed, basically, is the only real coincidence they can find. So the trial comes along, pleads not guilty to killing Mary Lou. He's also pleads not guilty to several other charges relating to different burglaries in the neighborhood that they found that he's responsible for. So he's been breaking into neighbors' houses all the time is the other thing. So, you know what I mean? He's a real good suspect here. He's ordered held without bail. They get a woman to testify named Justine Moon. She testifies that he would stare at her as she waited at the bus stop in front of his house.
Yuck.
Now, the defense contends that this testimony served no purpose other to portray him as, quote, menacing and creepy. Well, yeah, if that's how you make women feel, then there might be for a reason. The state presents evidence that both Sale and Conkey frequented a cluster of stores near their residences, so he might have seen her there, if nowhere else. They also offer Moon's testimony they say that it contradicts his assertion to the police that he never noticed the victim when she visited the stores. It shows that he was familiar with him with people around and stared at women and shit. So if there was a woman, he was probably staring at her, is what they get to. So during this whole thing, they're laying out the case. They found his prints in her bedroom. The prints match him. He's arrested in 1990 for a sexual assault. They say he broke into her home, beat her with a blunt weapon, wrapped his nylon stocking around her neck. The prosecutor said, quote, "He pulled it tighter and tighter. I will prove to you members of the jury that there was a struggle, and Mary Lou fought as energetically as she could, and she was left on the floor lying in a pool of blood."
Yikes.
So, now Conkey's lawyer, he says, yeah, he was in her house. That's because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Only a nice guy would hear screaming and break into someone's house to help. That's going up the extra mile. He said there's also 8 other fingerprints and 2 palm prints in the house that the police couldn't match to anybody. What about them?
Okay.
What about those? They said hairs found on sale also. He said the FBI reported there's no match there. So what's up with that? Maybe where's that going? So they said, look, he's a burglar. Literally, he's a burglar, not a murderer. That's what the guy said to the jury here.
Bad defense.
It's something. They said that his girlfriend testifies that he told her that he liked to break into people's houses when they were home because otherwise it was not a challenge.
Yeah.
He said that she also said throughout the fall and summer of 94, so the last 6 months before the murder, he had given her several items, including jewelry, CDs, binoculars, and a laptop computer, which he claimed to have taken during various house break-ins. They said that that's what he does. I mean, he's a trial counsel also requested that the court not give an instruction to the jury to the effect that her testimony concerning his break-ins could only be considered in connection with Conkey's state of mind, not as an indicative of a propensity to commit bad acts. Okay. So they're saying you can only use this shit for his state of mind of what he might have been thinking about going into somewhere, but you can't say he's a terrible guy because he's a burglar. That means he's a murderer.
There is something for people that do that, though, that it's stealing your safety and your peace of mind.
Yeah, they get off on that.
Right. It's a violation that's so deep. Those people are certainly capable of murder because they're doing something that is so depraved in the first place and it's selfish.
Well, you get found, and then what do you do?
And then
you're going to get caught unless you make this person not see you.
Right.
That's what it is. So the defense called 8 witnesses in an effort to persuade the jury here. His whole defense is Dr. Lang did it.
Okay.
Not me. The landlord did it. His whole defense is the landlord did it. They said opportunity, motive, means to kill her. They brought up his... They called up his former fiancée to the stand, Mary McAllery. She testifies that on the evening of the 3rd, she returned home from a holiday party, 10 to 10:30. They watched the beginning of Saturday Night Live at 11:30. She fell asleep, didn't see him again till the next morning, so that gives him opportunity. She told him about the insomnia, the fact that she's a heavy sleeper, that he liked to do middle of the night drive-arounds.
Right.
That sort of thing. She also testified that the landlord was upset with her for telling the police that he likes to go out at night and making him sound guilty. Jesus Christ, that sounds bad.
It does.
The defense also calls Susan Oak, who's the former president of his company, the landlord, that is, Dr. Lang. Oak testified that she thought Dr. Lang had told her in December 94 that he was concerned the police would find fingerprints on the phone in Sale's room because while he was doing repairs, he'd fallen and knocked the phone over, then picked it back up again. So the defense also presents testimony from some of Sale's neighbors who testified they saw lights on in Sale's house between Sunday, December 4th and Tuesday, December 6th, even though the house was dark when the police discovered the body.
Oh, that's not good at all.
And I'll believe that because these people are monitoring what time her lights go off. So they know whether they're on or off at all, which that's why I think my theory is Conkey did this. Landlord came in to be creepy.
Right.
And found her and was like, oh, fuck, and took off.
Turns the lights off and gets the fuck out.
That's my theory on the whole thing. Yep. Turns the lights back off and runs the fuck out of there.
Oh, my God.
So Conkey uses this testimony here to say that the killer must have had access to her house in the days after she was killed. Maybe that's what happened. So he also calls Thomas Connolly, a carpenter who was doing work located at the house located at 1009 Massachusetts Avenue on the morning of December 3rd. This Connolly testifies that he was pulling into the driveway of the house. He noticed a man with the straggly reddish-brown hair walking quickly down the street. When the man saw Connolly turning into the driveway, he covered his head with a beige kerchief and walked away.
What?
That's a suspicious thing to do. Weird thing to do. Like he's going to rob a bank in the fucking 1880s. What's going on? This Connolly later told the police that he recognized the man as Dr. Lang after he saw Dr. Lang being interviewed on television subsequent to the death. He goes, that's the guy I saw in the street.
Oh, my God.
The red hair, it's kind of a giveaway. Yeah, it's distinctive looking.
You can't get away from this.
No, that's why he's a comedian. So instead of a murderer, he'd be a terrible murderer. He's a terrible comedian, too, but a murderer even worse.
Very recognizable.
Very recognizable. So Dr. Lang, before this trial for Conkey, had moved to Oregon. He took off, quit his job, did everything, moved to Oregon, and asserted his Fifth Amendment right not to testify at trial during a pre-trial telephone conference.
As long as I'm not being charged, I have nothing to talk about, and I moved literally the furthest from this I can get to.
Get the fuck away from here. In closing arguments, Conkey's trial counsel sums up the defendant's theory as this: Conkey was in the habit of breaking into houses and taking things from houses. He enjoyed going into houses where people were, where he felt people would be, because he thought that was more exciting and more of a challenge. He said, quote, "You might not like it, but that's who he is." Well, yeah, we know what we can do with that, though, as being the jury. We might not like it. We can also put him in jail. He said... In the days following this event, police did an investigation. He said Conkey lied to the police officers, but now you know the truth because he eventually had to say, yeah, I was there. And and he says he has thoughts, should I call the police, and picks up the phone. He's a burglar. What's he going to say? I'm a burglar in the middle of a burglary and I just found a dead body? Okay. Yeah. So he doesn't make the call. You don't say anything. You can say, there's a dead body here, and fucking hang up and leave. That's what you can do. And then they can come and find her. So he doesn't make the call, and because the various activities here, he said all these law enforcement personnel coming in, all of this shit. He said, but we don't have the benefit of having a nice clean phone to see his print on it. He said, but think of this. Mrs. McClary is asleep. Mr. Lang has keys to the apartment. He lives 4 or 5 or 6 doors down. It's his habit to be up and about in the middle of the night. He sees the lights on in Mary Lou Sale's home. He's physically attracted to her, sexually attracted to her. So Ronald Lang shows up, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe he comes in with a key. He says, and Sale's like, oh, what am I going to do? I can't scream at him. He's my landlord, but I want to be firm. What are you doing here? And he makes some story up about the list and all the work he has to do. Maybe he wants to take a look. Maybe I couldn't sleep tonight, so I can just look at this or that or the other thing. And then he goes upstairs and then he does the whole killing there. That's the theory. What do you think? Find out what the jury buys. Jury comes back here. Obviously, for Conkey's verdict here, they find him guilty of murder. Yeah, old Conkey there, and he goes to sentencing. Sentencing, you sir, may fuck off, life in prison for.
Oh boy, they go hard.
He's going hard there. That's a vicious murder. That's hard. If he did it, he's going away.
Well, here's the thing, James. If you are just a burglar and you're not capable of murder, if you find a body, do you panic and call the fucking police? Because I think I do.
I think I go and I find a phone that's not in that house and I call the police. Yes, I think it's 1994. I run down to the nearest payphone and I call the cops.
Run on down to Cumbie Farms and make a call.
I go, there's a goddamn body in this house. And that's it. That's all you have to say. They'll show up to look. You don't have to give them any more details than that. They'll be over.
If they hear about a body, I think they have to look.
Yeah. Dead body, address. Click, that's it. They need to know. So
I might stick around and be like, all I do is rob houses, man. I swear to God. I found this and I'm fucking petrified. I need to tell you guys this. I think I would.
Yeah, I think so too, honestly. It'd be hard not to.
Is that white privilege of me just assuming that they wouldn't think that I murdered somebody? I don't know what that is, but it probably is a little bit, right?
I think it's more fucking guilt of you wouldn't be able to sleep at night, probably.
Yeah. I just couldn't do it.
Doesn't really matter.
I couldn't walk away without telling him that there's a body here.
I would assume I'd be arrested for at least burglary, but I would hope that there's other evidence that doesn't point to me. But if I was the guy in the house, it doesn't look good.
But also, I've touched things, and I've seen enough things that I know that, look, I've touched all kinds of shit in here before I saw that body. I better call
somebody. Now, 1999 comes around, and he has an appeal. Mm-hmm. And the grounds are that his refusal to... In court, they brought up that he refused to be fingerprinted and all that shit right away. That's why they had to send away to New Hampshire. Uh-huh. So his theory is they should not have. His refusal to give fingerprints should not have been used against him in court. And the court found that his lawyer should have been allowed to present more evidence at the trial that somebody else may have killed Sale. Because a lot of that evidence, all that shit I told you about the landlord, not all that shit was allowed into the court at all. Really? So that was just background we know, but it would pick and choose some of that shit for court. They wouldn't allow a lot into court. So based on that, they reverse his conviction, and he's got to get retried. So 2001, they try him again for Mary Lou, and he's convicted again.
That's not good.
2004, on another appeal here, this one he relies on the fact that one of the hairs, the one that was forcibly removed, it supports his position that DNA testing linked the hair to Dr. Lang, or would have done that, and that would have likely influenced the jury's decision if we could have got a DNA test out of Lang.
That's a gray hair. This guy's 26, 27. It's probably not his.
That's absolutely possible. He contends that this single hair apparently forcibly removed or pulled, and this seems to have occurred during a struggle. He takes the testimony of the special agent that has all the information, that doesn't know how or when it got ripped out. Remember, he doesn't know how much pressure it would take. So they said that notwithstanding Conkey's assertion the hair was forcibly removed during a struggle, there's no indication as to how or when the hair was in fact removed. Therefore, even if DNA testing revealed the source of the forcibly removed hair was Dr. Lang, this fact does little to weaken the case against Conkey. See, we know Dr. Lang was in the house, so he could have dropped a hair on the floor and she rolled over. Who the fuck knows? He could have scratched his head and knocked the hair out, and whatever. So they said they acknowledged that Dr. Lang had been present in her bedroom just days before the death. And, so they don't know how this could have happened here. So the Commonwealth's case against Conkey, although based mostly on entirely circumstantial evidence, was strong nonetheless. They said that Conkey admitted to being in the bedroom the night of her death. If he just didn't say all of that, the fingerprint would have been hard to talk your way out of, but you just say, I'm not talking, I want a fucking lawyer. I don't know how he put himself there.
Right.
It's difficult. So they said that they say that the Commonwealth's case hinged on the asserted implausibility of Conkey's story. They said in the closing argument, the prosecutor, all he did was focus on the inconsistencies of the story, particularly his initial insistence that he'd never been inside the
that's
place.
A big problem.
Yeah, it's your lies is what they're putting up. You are allowed to say an inconsistent story.
People that kill people generally lie about it.
Absolutely. So this is reversed again.
Wow.
So now it's twice and twice. He's two and two in trials here. Not going great. So 2009 comes around. He finally pleads guilty to it.
Okay.
To Mary Lou. He pleads guilty, and he's sentenced to, you, sir, fuck off, life in prison again. Okay. So they said, this is the prosecutor. By pleading guilty, the defendant has definitively admitted his guilt for the brutal murder of Mary Lou Sale. The victim's family have been forced to live through the 2 trials and nearly 15 years of uncertainty. This is 2009.
Yeah.
Now, with this conviction and sentencing, the defendant is held accountable, and the legal process has come to a final close. Conkey gets credit for the nearly 15 years he spent awaiting this trial, because he's been in jail, and serving his sentences and blah, blah, blah. So that goes toward his parole, which good luck. Now, while he's in there, 2012 comes around. He makes a phone call to the police, to the state police from jail. And he says, listen, I got to tell you something. The reason I'm calling is, and this is real, the apocalypse is coming, and I got to get some things off my chest. This is November 2012. So remember 2012 when everyone, the dumb Mayan shit and all that? That's what he's talking about.
The Mayan calendar spooked him.
It spooked him. So he called to say, I have to tell you about something, something you don't know nothing about.
Okay.
Back on August 23rd, 1992,
oh boy,
date we haven't even talked about yet, there's a young lady named Kathleen Dempsey. She's a graphic designer, 31 years old. Really good graphic designer. She does graphic and textile designs, and she was about to go back to college because she wanted to teach art to children. Okay. She wanted to, quote, teach art to children in nature settings. So that's what she wanted to do.
Bob Ross style.
Yeah, exactly. Very nice lady is from what I understand here. Well, he said, well, this is what happened on August 23rd, 1992. I was suspended from my job at McDonald's, probably for being drunk in the parking lot, I'm going to guess.
Good, yeah.
He said, I went over and I broke into her apartment. Okay. Broke into Kathleen Dempsey's. It's a basement apartment in a yellow bungalow. And I broke in there on Ridge Road in Lexington. He said, I wanted money. I was suspended from McDonald's. I needed money for food and rent. Yeah. So I went in there. And he said, when he gets in there, she was asleep, Kathleen Dempsey. Room was pitch black. And she was awoken by him, and she screamed, quote, please don't hurt me, just go, I can't see you. So it's dark, I don't see you, don't hurt me, just leave, which is reasonable. But he said, instead, he went over to her, grabbed her by the back of the head, pressed her face into the mattress, and put a pillow over the back of her head so her screams couldn't be heard, and then stabbed her 17 times.
Jesus.
With his pocket knife, 17 times in the neck and torso.
Oh, my God.
He started with the neck, slashed her diaphragm on one of the stabs, and then from there said that he, quote, concentrated on her kidneys because he knew they were vital organs. So he was hacking her in the general kidney area. That was 17 times. Absolutely savaged this fucking poor woman. So he said... and the police found her face down on the bedroom floor, naked from the waist up. She was still clutching the handset of the telephone because she got a 911 call off. She survived till after he left and got a 911 call off. This is the saddest fucking thing I've ever heard, or most anger-causing anyway. This 911 call would cause sweeping changes in the state's emergency response system, which is a bad sign. He took off from the house about 5:30 a.m. She had enough left in her to pick up the phone, dial 911. She called the Lexington Fire Department, okay? Mm-hmm. There's a civilian operator that puts you through to the 911. It's a small town. So she begins the call by saying, quote, I've been attacked. She gets her address out, but it's a little garbled.
Her diaphragm slash.
Exactly. But she said, I've been attacked. Her voice becomes more garbled, and the call ends with her moaning. Now, the person who answered, it's a part-time dispatcher who answered the phone and said he could not understand her address and just disregarded the call.
Asshole.
So, a dispatcher on the next shift at 10 o'clock in the morning, so fucking 4.5 hours later, he reviewed the call logs and listened to the call, and he deciphered the fucking address because you could hear it if you listen closely. So they sends the police over there at 10:57 a.m. The dispatcher said he thought it was a hoax, so that's why he just hung up and said, fuck it. It's just kids fucking around.
5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning, and they found her dead near the foot of her bed, clutching the telephone. 5 stab wounds to her abdomen, liver, her kidneys, diaphragm slashed, everything. Calls the operator. Operator's name was Victoria Sabaluski to report that she'd been stabbed. Sabaluski worked in the Brockton office and patched the call through to this Robishaw guy, and she could be heard saying, go ahead, ma'am. And Dempsey's voice loses clarity, and Robishaw can be heard frantically repeating, ma'am, and then the moans stop. So Robishaw was eventually fired from there because of this. Good. And was at this point a firefighter in 2010 or 2012. And he said that he was unable to understand the address and never thought of calling the operator, who had not identified herself as such. He said, I didn't know it was the operator. So they said that They said that Dempsey's telephone number displayed on a screen before her, and that this guy should have known. So Dempsey's family sues the town of Lexington and gets a $100,000 settlement, which is the cap on what they can pay out for a town. In response, the cities and towns around the state instituted Enhanced 911, in which emergency dispatchers are automatically notified of each caller's address, which should be known. Now, they also announced a $20,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person. This was after the murder, because this was cold for 15, 16 years, which is horrible. So they said, we feel there's a person out there somewhere with information that could help. We've been pretty devastated this past 6 months. There's not much we can do to help in the investigation except offer the reward, which is true. Now, how did he come forward for this, Conkey? How the fuck, what's up with this shit? Well, the district attorney said that the indictment was both his admissions, and they said they have now advanced DNA tools to examine bodily fluids and shit like that, and they were able to corroborate his story by matching his DNA to the scene. So they said cases like this should give people hope that we continue to never forget the victims of homicide. He said he couldn't talk about the circumstances leading to the confession, but his lawyer said, this is Conkey's lawyer, said in an interview that Conkey provided the crucial information they needed to connect him to the killings. Without his statements, he said that the killing would be an unsolved murder forever. And it would have been. If he didn't come forward, they wouldn't have found him. They said for whatever reason, he came forward to solve this. He went ahead and did it. He didn't have to, but he did.
Thank you, Mayans, for being lazy with your calendar.
Thank you for your shitty calendar that made this guy think that he was going. He said he didn't want to go to hell. That was his whole thing.
You're still going, sir. If there is one, you're certainly
You're going. So they think it took place during an attempted burglary, obviously. Dempsey's mother, Kathleen's mother here, Evelyn Tobin, said this was a horrific, unspeakable act of violence against a 31-year-old woman who was beloved and had her whole life ahead of her. My daughter believed in justice very strongly, and she would be very happy for her family today. She also said that her family lost hope for a while that anyone would ever come to justice, and she said she thanks the investigators because she believed they never gave up on the case. So that's good. She remembered her as she said that Kathleen, quote, didn't have a malicious bone in her body. The one regret I have is that she didn't get to see my kids. That's what her brother said about her. So
she's so sweet, in fact, that she even told a burglar, "You get out. I won't even call. I'll just go back to sleep. I don't even see you.
I didn't see you. Just go." Yeah, that's what I mean. She's just, it's fucking sad, man. Oh man, they were able to obviously garner his whole admission and all this sort of shit. They also, you know what he wanted in exchange for this, by the way?
A pack of cigarettes.
He wants an exchange. It's close. In exchange for pleading guilty and giving the whole story, he said that he wants to be transferred to Maine's prison system in exchange for helping them. Why? Maine or New Hampshire, because he's in Massachusetts right now, and it's away from his family. And he also said, in addition to that,
he wants a Big Mac.
He wants to go to Maine, and he wants to be given a PlayStation also. Because in the Maine system, some trusty inmates are allowed to have PlayStations. So he's like,
Grand Theft Auto.
Literally, send me to Maine. Vice City's out, or at this point, San Andreas had just come out. Fuck 2009. No, this is fucking not even San Andreas. No. This is the next one. This is the next one, man.
Wait,
this is fucking
after
4.
That?
Yeah. San
Holy
Andreas
shit.
was like 2005, and then in 2009, another one came out.
So he really wants the good one. He's heard. He's certainly heard about this.
He's like, have you seen Red Dead? It looks awesome.
You're allowed to murder for free.
Red Dead Redemption's great. I got to play this game. I want to be a cowboy, everybody. So the district attorney's office said that they couldn't comment on whether they were going to do that or not. Now, Kathleen was described by her friend as, quote, her desk was a melange of work papers, tarot cards, dried flowers, and what she called her science experiments, which were half-empty teacups with mold in various stages of growth.
She's a party.
So she's just she seems like she's just, doing her thing. She's an artist.
Yeah.
She's the opposite of accountant,
Right.
of Mary Lou Sale. It's complete opposite.
She throws a couple of different types of cheeses in a little Dixie cup to watch them mold up.
Yep. See what happens. So they said that Dempsey, when deadlines for her stuff were, came up for her work, Dempsey would, quote, shrug them off, tap dance, and sing show tunes. she's an artist.
Yeah.
She's a cool artist. Sometimes she would disappear and return laden with chocolate, which she would make me eat because she said it would give me a false sense of euphoria.
Hell yeah, because Vermont's right there.
She's fun, man.
Yeah.
She sounds like a cool lady, so that's a shame, man. Also, now, he said, that's not the only murder that I want to tell you about that I've done. He said, you might want to get a hold of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Plymouth, New Hampshire, exactly, as a matter of fact, because they do. And on July 12th, officers with the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit go to visit Conkey in prison in Massachusetts, and they talked to him, and they said he was a suspect in Teresa Reed's murder, they said. They had talked to him about it, but there was simply no evidence at the time. That's so he comes on the radar this way. He didn't confess when they come up to see him or come down to see him. He doesn't confess either. He said, I want to talk to them. They came, and then he doesn't confess. Okay. He does say he offers hints that he knows more about the case than he let on. That's all he would say. I'm just saying I know more than I said I did before. Okay. And they're like, well, what do you know? Did you fucking kill her or not? Tell us if you did. And he's like, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say I know something. So they come back to see him another time. And Conkey asked, do you have enough evidence to convict me of Teresa Reed's murder? And he's already in prison. So they said, no, we don't, to be honest with you. We don't have enough evidence. And he said, all right, I'll tell you what happened.
Oh, boy.
He said, I'll tell you everything that happened. If you can't convict me on it, I wanted to just get convicted and get it over with. But if you can't do it, here's how it happened.
Is this
everybody?
Is this a ploy just to get to New Hampshire?
No. That was the last murder.
Right.
It was a ploy to get to Maine. This might be a ploy to get to New Hampshire, but we'll find out.
Okay.
Well, you tell me.
All right.
You be the cop and tell me if his story fucking
spill it, motherfucker.
Holds water. So he's told the investigators he went to Reed's apartment in Plymouth one night in September of 1991 with the intent of burglarizing it. He said he never knew Reed, never met her, never saw her. Didn't know her from Adam. She lived 6 miles away. Literally, the apartment was chosen at random. That's all it was. He, at one point, even said that he went to another place, but there was a police car that drove by that scared him away from that place. It was a bigger house, so he chose a more modest location that he didn't think the cops would be driving around. So that's what he did. He said once he gets inside, he looks around, and he found Teresa Reed on her bed. And once he popped into the room, he said she instantly began to scream. She didn't talk to him. She didn't tell him to get out. She just started screaming. He said, quote, in order to keep her quiet, he lunged across her. And then he said that he, quote, stabbed her as much as I could.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. 9 stab wounds here. During the assault, she fell into the space between the bed and the wall. That had not been released anywhere publicly. Mm-hmm. So that's how
the capper. Yeah.
That's the capper that they know that's there. It hadn't been disclosed to the public, as well as his knowledge of the murder weapon. He said it was a knife with a 6-inch blade and a tightly wound leather strap around the handle, and it was found inside Reed's apartment. So he knew the leather around the handle of the murder weapon found in the apartment. So unless he's one of the homicide investigators with access to crime scene photos or the murderer, those are the only people that would know that shit. Literally, not even the family got that information. So it's out there. So that gave credence to it. Conkey told them that he spent maybe 2 minutes total in the apartment. He said it was that quick. He walked in, looked around, got to the bedroom, because that's where jewelry is.
Right. Gets
to the bedroom. She screamed. He jumped on her, stab, and walked out. That was it. He didn't even, that's how fucking fast it was. So fast. Now, all these people in New Hampshire were walking around terrified, thinking that this is, we got Ted Bundy going on, and this is just a shitty burglar who
a guy that
got
just keeps
scared.
getting suspended from McDonald's.
Yeah, literally. That's what it is. So he said that he left in a state of shock because of what happened. He just said it all happened so fast. So he said he left in a state of shock and wandered out into the woods and slept there that night. Just slept in the woods because he was in such shock. Who sleeps in the woods when they're not prepared to sleep in the woods?
Creeps.
I guess people who murder when they're not when they're not planning on murdering. Same person. So he then walked to his parents' house in Dorchester, where he grew up the next day, he said. And they knew from previous experience with him that when he gives a confession, he's usually telling the truth. Now this has been he's given 2 now because he gave it up with Mary Lou Sale when he pleaded guilty as well. He's given 2, and they're concise, they're factual, and they're done. That's all he does.
Accurate.
I did this, I did that. You'll find the knife there. It's got a leather thing wrapped around it. Stabbed her a bunch of times, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So, is there more?
There's gotta be.
He also said that he's done it again. He said he did it also. He said he committed a murder in Manchester in 1989 where he busted into a flower shop and strangled the woman behind the counter before robbing her and fleeing.
Oh, boy.
So there's that as well, and they're going to look into that and figure out if they can charge him with that also, of this flower shop murder. By the way, 4 is absolutely a serial killer. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's too many.
I know his motive is burglary, so that could be, I don't know if that doesn't put him in technically into the whole thing, but 4 murders, that's every time someone catches you, you kill them.
Right.
That's a fucking... At some point, it's not about the burglary. The burglary is an excuse to maybe kill somebody. It's at that point.
Well, the burglary is the main motive, but if I'm caught, I'll murder. I'll silence anybody. That's still a serial killer for sure.
To do it that many times and in that similar fashion. You notice it's not a guy ever. Right. You notice it's a single woman. That's why I don't believe it.
Nope.
I don't believe him that he just went in to burglarize these places. So the 4 places he's gone to burglarize where he got caught just happened to be all places where single women lived and were falling asleep at night. I don't buy that shit.
He had to know.
He had to know. Not once he busted into some fucking, some mook suburban Boston weightlifter guy who's like, "What are you doing in my house?" And he fucking chases him out with a fucking machete. You know what I'm saying? Like, you motherfucker. He's coming after him. He breaks into Rob Gronkowski's house by accident and gets chased off by
beat up by
Teddy
a guy
Bruschi.
in a Bruins jersey.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on over there. So that's what I mean. I don't believe him. I think he burglarizes also, and I think sometimes he's like, "Oh, cool, I can rape and kill that woman and burglarize her too." Yeah, because I feel like doing that tonight.
There's no evidence that the burglary happened before the murder. You know, on any of these. You know what I mean?
No.
All these, it's all murder then burglary. That sounds to me like a guy that murders and then does burglary shit just to cover it up and show a different reason.
While I'm here, might as well get some free shit. I work at McDonald's, so it's not like he's got pockets overflowing with cash. He needs the shit, and he gets to rape and murder. It's like, oh boy, what a package deal this guy has.
Yeah, there's no way the burglary is the reason he's there.
Fuck no, it really doesn't seem that. So, 1997, the Dempsey family sues 911. So not only do they get $100,000 from the city of Lexington, the tape, the 911 tape, is part of the opening of the trial, and it's the Dempsey family alleging that an operator and the telephone company, formerly New England Telephone, are responsible for Kathleen's death because medically she might have made it.
Yeah,
she might have lived.
Right.
She had enough to at least call. If they got there in a couple minutes, she might have survived, man.
Yeah.
Like
crazier things have happened.
She had to bleed. Yeah, she stayed alive for a while before that. So chances are she could have made it, or at least made it until somebody got there.
Right.
Instead, she had to fucking die holding a phone. That's
somebody that's stabbed and their throat slit, and they're calling within 15 minutes of the attack. 15 minutes to 20 minutes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a window that you can work with. 4 hours of bleeding. There's no window to work with. You're completely
no
fine.
window, especially when the liver's been lacerated, kidneys, all these things, diaphragm. So they're saying that The operator who patched the call through to the Lexington Fire Department did not pass on the Dempsey's telephone number to the fire department dispatcher and did not identify herself as an operator.
Wow.
Just threw the call in the water there. Had she done those things, they say that help could have been sent possibly in time.
Sure.
So it took more than 5 hours, obviously, until they actually got there and found her dead near the foot of her bed, clutching the phone. The dispatcher, Walter Bullock, said he relieved Robichaud, like we said, and decided to review the previous shift's taped calls, because there's probably not a lot of taped 911 calls from a small town.
Right.
And addressed it after repeatedly listening to the tape. He got the address. He called his shift commander, who told him to call Dempsey. The line was busy because she was fucking holding it. Right. And the police were asked to check on her. And 10:57, they finally got there.
Unbelievable.
So that's more than 5 hours later. So, they sue there. The dispatcher, Kenneth Robichaud, told superiors he thought the call was a hoax. He resigned after they found out it wasn't because, Jesus Christ. What's your job when people are having an emergency to take their information?
What's your job? Is it to assume things about what's happening on the other end of the line, or take facts and send police to find out?
If it is a hoax, what's the worst that can happen?
Right.
Police show up for no fucking reason and then they go away. I mean, there's been tragedies that have happened when that's happened, but it's better than there's a woman dying and fuck it, let her lay there. I mean, you got to try.
As a kid, did you ever call 911 and then get yelled at by your mom when they called right the fuck back and your mom answered it?
Nah, we never called 911 because we're Italians. We don't get involved with the police at all. We're not calling them. But me and my cousin Jesse, when we were like 4, we called the operator.
Yeah.
We thought it was funny to call the operator.
Yeah.
So we called the operator and we were like, hi, how are you? And she was like, oh, that's nice. And, there's kids. And she was like, okay, hang up now. We have to do our jobs. And it's nice talking to you, kids. And hung up. We were like, that's funny. So then we called up and call her back. So my cousin Jesse picks it up, hits 0, and she says, operator. And he goes, fuck you, and hangs up the phone.
Jesse, no, don't do that.
And we laughed. And then 10 seconds later, the phone rang again. And we went, and we fucking ran and hid in a room. And then we hear our mothers talking downstairs, getting louder and louder. And we're like, oh, shit. And then there's 2 steps of footsteps. We're like, oh, we're fucked. We're in so much trouble. We got yelled at good for that shit.
I did it just because when we picked up the receiver, there was a sticker on the phone that said, in case of emergency, dial 911. And I was like, I don't know any other numbers.
So you're saying if
it's the only person I know to call.
You had a Pizza Hut sticker on there, you would have just had a large cheese delivered to you.
I was like, I don't know how else to use this fucking thing. 911.
Hi.
I was like, hey. They're like, what's your emergency? And I was like, oh, shit, hang up. And then it rang again. We had 2 phones in the house. My mom answered the other, and she was like, hello. And she's like, Jimmie!
You little bastard. No. I'm sorry.
Jimmy Ellis is what she said, not Jimmy. I was like, I'm in trouble.
I am fucked. That's fucking amazing. Yeah, in trouble with the operator's not good. Or the 911. You're in trouble either way.
Anybody who's got a job on the phone, you don't call
any
them.
Adult who's calling your parents to complain about you is bad stuff when you're little. That's going to teachers, operators, police, anybody. You're in trouble. So, in court, Dempsey's mother, because he goes to court to plead guilty for Kathleen Dempsey's murder. Yeah. First, he pleads not guilty, by the way, after he was the one he contacted. It's like, dude, you called us. What are you talking about?
You dialed 911, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmie. You dialed 911. What is your emergency, sir? Not guilty, but then he eventually decides to just plead guilty because, it's pretty logical. I think he just wanted the deal he wanted. Not guilty, then he can negotiate for shit. That's how it works.
PlayStation, that's why.
Yeah, he wants to go to New Hampshire now. He didn't get to go to Maine, so now he wants to go to New Hampshire. So Dempsey's mother, Evelyn Tobin, she went on to found Boston's Garden of Peace, which is a memorial to murder victims, which is pretty cool. She told the court that she was reluctantly making an impact statement. She said, I'm reluctantly doing this, quote, because I didn't know if I wanted to give this evil murderer the satisfaction of knowing anything about Kathy. which is pretty, I get it. I get where she's coming from. She said that right before she died, her daughter was about to embark on her master's degree in education. Quote, it was her dream to teach young children. She also called Conkey a, quote, cowardly psychopath. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
That's about right. And said that he ended her daughter's life for no reason other than the thrill of it, which is absolutely true. Then she said, because he had brought up earlier how the apocalypse is coming and he doesn't want to go to hell and he's worried about his soul. So she said, quote, I have news for him. Kathy is in heaven and there's no way he's going to ever join her there.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah, that would be really fucked up if there is a heaven and you're a murder victim and you're walking around with your halo and everything and you walk into a heavenly Burger King and you get in there and then there's the guy who murdered you. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right, this is heaven. What are we doing? I have to deal with this asshole?
Right.
And the onion rings aren't as warm as I'd like them. Make fresh onion rings and keep my murderer away from me. These are the only things I ask of heaven.
All I give
and you
a
can't
shit about.
You can't fucking deliver this bullshit to me. This sucks. So, yeah, he goes to do that. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. At first, before this hearing, a doctor declared him competent to plead guilty to second-degree murder. After an examination at the request of Conkey's attorney, and at the time, the doctor told the court that Conkey was hearing voices, but he did seem to understand the court system, so he's probably good to plead.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, what's the difference? Conkey himself said he told the judge that he felt the trial would be a waste of time and taxpayer dollars, so just let me fucking plea. Fair. Yeah. Conkey's statement is this: I've been waiting a long time just to come in and plead guilty. He said, there's no need to investigate it. I'm guilty. I confessed. Everything I said in my statement to police was true.
Yeah.
Duh. Fucking let's go. So a part of the plea agreement will make him eligible for parole in 15 years on this particular case. Mm-hmm. But he tells the judge that he knows he's never going to go free. Yeah. He said, quote, realistically, I know I can't get paroled on 2 concurrent bids for second-degree murder. They'll never parole someone like me.
No.
Probably not. Part of the plea agreement, the prosecutors make a recommendation to the Department of Corrections as to where he'll serve his sentence, because he doesn't like where he is, apparently. The family said that, this is the mother again, Tobin. She said they never gave up on the case. This case was never on the back burner. My daughter believed in justice, and she'd be very happy. So she said that again. Good. She said, we feel a sense of relief that we are not going to have to be as vigilant as we have for the past 20 years. We can rest a little. It's never going to be over for us, but at least we know someone is going to pay the price.
Yes.
Her brother said she was just a real sweet girl. We were really close in age. We spent a lot of time together. And that's when he's the guy who said she didn't have a malicious bone in her body. The DA said, quote, he was breaking into homes and burglarizing them. And the unfortunate reality in Kathy's killing and Mary Lou's killing is that they were inhabitants of those homes who woke up when he broke into those homes and sought to remedy that by killing them. Now, 2014, he pleads guilty in New Hampshire to first-degree murder in Grafton County Superior Court of the murder of Teresa Reed. He is sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off the life without parole. So there you go. He's fucked on that now. Yeah, they get him good here. Good deal. Now, the court hearing, when he goes to do that, he responded to questions with just yes or no. Just yes, no, yes, no. Several of the family members looked on. At one point, Conkey told the judge during the hearing that he, quote, let's get it over with. That's why he's going, yes, no, yes. Can we just fucking be done and sentence me and I'll go back to jail? This is stupid.
That doesn't sound callous at all.
Not at all, right? Not at all. While her family is there. Not callous at all. So her dad, this is Tessa's dad here, this is Joseph Reed. He said that the coincidence that his sentencing occurs on Valentine's Day, which was one of Teresa's favorite holidays. He said that he still has the last Valentine's card she sent him, signed like her other ones, love you. And he said, at Teresa's funeral, I had a few things to say, and I said that you're still part of humanity, talking to Conkey, he said. Now, whether that's a blessing or a condemnation, I don't know. So, yeah, there you go. Sentencing, they asked whether the he said that they asked him whether he knew that first-degree murder was the maximum charge he could receive, because he pleaded guilty to first-degree murder in this one, not second. Yeah. And he instead said, well, what about the death penalty? Can I get the fucking death penalty here or what? Can you just do that? And they were like, no, you can't get that for the crime at the time you did it. It wasn't legal here. And he said, Christ. So he says, quote, after being in prison for 20 years, I would have really preferred the death penalty.
Yeah.
It fucking place blows. Yeah, this place sucks. I can't get PlayStation. I can't get the death penalty. Fuck this place, man. Jesus Christ. You suck, Judge.
I want out one way or another.
You're no fun at all. Can I get some of those tickets so I can run around Dave and Buster's at least? Something?
The new NBA Live is so sick.
It's so, come on, 2K, Judge, 2K.
It's so real.
It's so real. Jesus, you can see LeBron's hairline recede and then come back. It's amazing. Gets stronger as you go on from 12 to now. So while he's incarcerated here, he agreed to be, the officials agreed that he will be incarcerated in New Hampshire. They said they would have no problem with that, but the movement across state lines will require both states' departments of corrections to agree to the arrangement. But as long as all the suits are agreeing to it, they'll all agree to it. So if they don't, he'll remain in Massachusetts unless he makes parole, which he won't, because if he does, he'll be released into New Hampshire's custody where he'll serve the rest of his life. So either way, he's fucked. He says that he, quote, understands he's going to be incarcerated for the rest of his life. So doesn't really give a shit. Teresa's dad said, quote, it's a happy day. It's a happy day to know that finally closure is coming in this case, although I don't really know what closure is anymore. So
closure is it's a weird thing.
It's a fucking weird thing. So that case, that guy's a serial killer, Conky.
Sure.
He's a disgusting serial killer. I'm really worried about that
landlord is an awful person.
He seems like a terrible person. I can't say he's a killer or anything, but he seems like a bad guy. Here's the weird part about this case, okay? 3 weeks ago, I can't remember, we were looking for cases, and one of the cases I came up with was, I found the Teresa Reed case in New Hampshire. And I looked into it some, and I said, okay, I'll put this in my folder of possibilities for later.
Put
all right,
on the desktop.
It's a cold case. We solved 20. I'm like, all right, we don't do, cold case will be a different one to throw into the mix. Then completely separately of that happened weeks ago.
Yeah.
Then this week, I'm looking for something in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And I find Lexington, Massachusetts, these murders.
Yeah.
And I fucking look it all up and I get all the shit. And then I find at the end, oh yeah, he killed Teresa Reed. And I went, Teresa Reed, why does that name sound familiar?
Open
and
your
looked
desktop.
it up. And it's the fucking case I had before. So I'm like, either state is fine, but that's insanity that completely separately, weeks apart, two cases I picked have the same fucking murderer. So I'm like...
You're like a New England cold case detective now, Jake.
Yeah. I'm like, we have to do this because it's just so... I mean, fate brought us to this asshole somehow, Fate wanted us to call him a douchebag.
You pilgrim.
Fucking crazy shit. But that is our crazy ass show.
Unbelievable.
It is a fucking disaster of shit this week. But what a web woven there. So there it is. If you like it, tell the world about it. Get on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, this one, that. I don't care. Wherever the hell there's a rating system, use it. Rate us, give us 5 stars, do all of that shit. Also, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. Check out everything for Small Town Murder, all of your merchandise, your tickets to live shows.
Yes.
We're in Seattle. If you're listening right when this comes out, we're in Seattle tonight, Thursday. We're in Seattle tomorrow night, Friday, maybe right now. We could be performing, and I believe there's a few tickets left to those shows, so get those tickets right now. Portland, Saturday and Sunday. Those have been sold out for 2 years, but I think you never know. You can keep trying. Maybe there'll be a return or two. Get in there and come see us either way. We want to see you, Seattle. Don't let Portland punk you. Yeah. What are you going to... They're constantly... they're constantly thinking they're better than you, and you're going to let them punk you?
They're so weird.
You're going to let us go into Portland going, oh, man, Seattle, they didn't all show up, man. I mean,
so
Portland,
weird.
You're all here, but, man, you don't want that, Seattle. You show Portland.
People selling out, and you're not.
You show Portland who the fuck is boss, Seattle. Say, God damn it, we're up here. This is where Frasier's from.
Right.
You
We're
don't
the
even
kings
have
of the Northwest. We're it.
You don't even have a football team. Fuck off. That's what you need to tell Portland. And Portland, can't wait to see you. We love you too.
Portland,
so.
you can tell them you don't even have a basketball team, so fuck you.
Yeah, because you don't. So yeah, there you go. And you can make fun of each other back and forth. So yeah, do that. Come see a live show. It's a lot of fun. Also, follow the show on social media. We're at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram. And you can get all the updates for everything and all of our shows and do all of that good shit there. Please do that. As well as Patreon is what you really need. Patreon.com/crime and sports. This week, my goodness, there's such good stuff. Yeah. We have the episodes we released a couple days ago. You get access, by the way, $5 or above to every damn thing we put out, no matter what show it is or anything like that. So this week's episodes, number one, the crime and sports episode is on counterfeit memorabilia.
Yes.
And it's for everything. Actors, signatures, musicians, sports shit, you name it, because they figured out to forge all of that shit, how to do it, how to come up with fake authentication companies. And we've had many of our listeners now come to us with shit they now know is fake after this. Yeah, just, some bands, whatever. It's fucking ridiculous. So check that out. It's really wild. It's nothing really to do with sports. It's just insanity. And then for Small Town Murders episode, we're going to do something really cool. We're going to talk about very strange and weird shit that goes on at like county fairs and state fairs and these weird carnivals in the middle of nowhere. We're talking people dressing llamas up like fucking like Cinderella and taking them to like a prom. That's weird. Tiny monkeys riding on dogs and racing. That's
my favorite new sport.
Strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. It's really fucking weird, and you can hear all about it. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And in addition to that, since you're one of our wonderful, wonderful people, and we appreciate you so goddamn much, you're going to get a shout out too, which we're going to do in just a second here. And Jimmie will mispronounce your name, even though he'd love to. With his whole heart, he'd love to say it correctly.
Yes,
but he can't. No. He just can't. And that's not his fault. Some of your names are complicated. They really are. It might be. Yes, when he says Pamela, that's on him. That one's on him.
Me, a little bit you.
When it's a 14-letter last name, you know what? Don't expect it right. And laugh at whatever he says because it's fucking funny. So there you go. Know he's trying his best and do that. And find all that at patreon.com/crime and sports. Or if you just want to get that shout out and have wonderful karma that you gave something nice to a couple of guys that worked their asses off to give you some free shit. Sure. You can do that as well over at PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. That said, Jimmie, I need it. I need to hear. It's a long week now. We're going on the road. I need to hear the goddamn names of the people who would never, ever, ever break into our house and then murder us just because we were there. Jimmie, please hit me with that list.
This week's executive producers are Mike Euler, Peyton Meadows. Happy birthday, Jen Visconti, by the way.
Hey.
Last week she wanted, it was her 40th birthday, and I missed that part.
Oh, shit. Happy birthday.
Got her name in, didn't tell her it was her birthday. I apologize, Jen. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dan.
Jacob Carl Schultz Coltsy in Australia. Oh, in Australia. Thank you, Jacob. Gina Smart, Christine Depot. I don't know, probably Depot. Sober mentor Jeff Watson and his partner Shelly. Thanks for helping Chris Harrison. Keep it up. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Chris says he loves you, and so do I. Jordan Bennett, Janice Hill, Lindsay Bullfinch, Casey's in love with you, apparently. Chrissy and Matt Boyle, Kea Torres. Happy birthday, electrician magician Zach in Portland.
Hey,
Anthony Wally, Zach Weir, Maria Allison. You guys are truly the lifeblood of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Other producers this week are Gary Howard, James Martyr, hero Jessica J. James, she found a house on fire in her neighborhood and fucking saved people.
Whoa, really?
She got people out of the house and saved animals and shit. Unbelievable. Thank you, Jessica.
That's incredible. Shit. Good job.
And Renee Perry, they're both in Norman, Oklahoma. I believe they're coming to the show in OKC. I don't remember.
Cool, hope so.
Nancy Weaver, happy birthday, Corporal Carl Kirchner.
Hey!
50 years old, you son of a bitch.
Umlauting all over the place. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Christy Hansen, Jeffrey Shrewsbury, Caroline Gola, Happy Hour in Castle Rock checking in. Calzone Ingredients, Muda Calzaga. John Castleman's sister Samantha, happy birthday. David Beers, Stuart Saunderson in Ontario. Killer Khan, Butcher Paul Vachon. You know them, I'm sure.
That's Vachon.
Vachon. That's what I
Butcher Paul and Mad Dog is his brother.
There you go.
Luna is Butcher's daughter. There you go.
Chelsea Fushino Williams, Rebecca Nutley, Swamp Queen Jess on OnlyFans. Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy.
Amanda Miller, Jacob Knight of the band Verstalin on Spotify. And
brother.
Yeah, there it is. Ann Leskinen, happy birthday. Rachel Waters, Emma Cacciamani.
Cacciatore?
Whatever. Catch it all. Anthony Cologne in Brooklyn. He was the bald guy that looked just like me in the front row.
Oh, in the front row where he was. I actually went, I got to call out that you look like Jimmie because it's so distracting.
He was right there.
I would see him and snap my head up to make sure you were still next to me because I was like, why'd you go in the
I got to go down here and stare at you, James. It looks better.
So weird. Yeah, that was freaking me out. Very strange.
Samantha Quigley at Maria's Battery. Jeff Peed. Oh, that's terrible. Cheer up, bitch. Jesus.
Yeah.
You peed. Jeff Dordle. Debbie Rose. Emily Neal. Garrett Woodbury. Mary Cecil Chick.
Yeah.
HP. Ian Kelly. Allison Bryan. Kevin Warren. Leanne Good. Patrick Tully. Emily Lanford. Josh Norton. Jessica Villa. Vanis Carter. Mike Kane. Victoria Glass. Jim Parsival, Nicole Fisher, Patricia Sobral, Courtney Ann, Candy Taylor, Mitchell Connolly, Helen with 2 L's, Kinsey Preston Katarzi, Joey Mendoza, Lindsay with no last name, Shelby Baranek, Thomas Overlander, Dan Vishney, Justin Scanlon, Danielle with no last name, Devis Patel, Jen Fortner, Dave Henry, Kaylin Clevenger, Justin Parker, Brendan Powell, Danny Start, Justin Hoffer, Deborah Nicholas, John Onan, Juliet with no last name, Kelly B, Michael Salter, Emmy loves you. She doesn't love Mike. I don't, that's a weird way. Derek McKee. Probably not that one.
No, right. It'd be awesome if it was. Yeah, pays for the Pacers, I think.
Levi with no last name. Nathan Good, Naomi Torres, Kathleen Ward, Katerina Succardy? Don't suck it.
No.
James Farrell, Karen with no last name, Alex O'Connor, Shauna Fisher, April Heath, Hannah Kielty, Stacy Pitter, Bill Perry, Lexi Jones, Emily with no last name, Jason Schoen, Jeffrey Quisling, Gismaine, no. Gismaine?
Okay. Yeah.
Turner, shit. That's a tough. Jasmine
there
Turner.
You go. Jesus, Jimmie. Besmirched this poor person.
Kelly Heidemann, Anna Holcomb, Claire Harrison, Nicole Pruitt, Peyton Nelson, Sarah Della Montagna Mahler, Jesus, Marcus Galan, Faith Corley, Alexis Williams, Amanda Pizzell Leibel, Christopher Jacobs, Sammy Grouse, Ann Harvey, Kyla McFarty Pants, what the fuck?
Awesome.
Lauren Dene, Ann E with no last name, Cole Bandit, Anthony Peregrine, Carrie Guthrie, Betty Humpter. All right.
That's
Catherine Pera, Zach Weir, I already said that one once. Rosa Flores, Jessica Rodriguez, Hannah Quinn, Anna with no last name, Ryan and Jessica Holton, Eric Demel, Cody Karras, Anna, Ian Grigsby, David Gwynn, Nick with no last name, Matt Jarvis, Carly Cortina, Rogan Weafer. Oh boy. James with no last name, D.S. Maggie Michelle Campana, Alyssa Schneppel, Emmy Catchy, Sophie with no last name, Mitch with no last name, Angela with no last name, Nathaniel Mendenhall, Don Quarter. Yeah, it's a good one. Dan Cordery.
Last name is back.
Sebastian Jimenez, Rick Jennings, Desmond Williams, Mike with no last name, Sarah Bridges, Heather Wagner, Karen McKenna, Teal Sexton, Austin with no last name, Dustin with no last name, Ebony Kennedy, Aaron Chi Qualls. I think that's a reference to Key and Peele. I think so.
I think that possibly.
I think so.
It's a reference
Clayton
to something,
Krems, Hunter Bresnick, Jordan Dalton, Peter with no last name, Stacy McLeod, Aaron Collins, Olivia with no last name, Penny Lindsay, Sarah Kukura, Jason Summers, Daniel Wheeler, Stephen Cuney Regioni, nope, that's not right, Bethany Ray, Bryce Wyndham, Mitch Hilligus, Aaron P., Kyle Alexander Fanning, Cameron Lansford, Ice Wallow Cum, I don't know what that is, Josh...
I swallow cum? I think you know what it is.
That's what it is. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Josh Pulaski, Alyssa Fernandez, Trent Brownstone, Veronica Coratini, Scott with no last name, Gail Teetard, what is this? Norma with no last name, Charles King, Matt Melvin, Matt Bassett, John Connor, wow. Camille Miranda, Andy with no last name, Sean Brown, and Peter Hamlet, and obviously all of our patrons. You guys are amazing. Most importantly, Ice Wallow Cum.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. You're amazing. We appreciate the shit out of you. Everybody on Patreon, everybody on PayPal, anybody in the groups who trying to spread the show to friends and everything like that. Thank you so much for doing that. We don't have a big thing to spread it. We don't buy advertising on people's shows. You don't hear us on everybody else's podcasts promoting it or doing any shit like that. We're going to give you guys the show, and we hope it spreads naturally, and that's what we've hoped, and it's worked so far. It's worked very well, and thank you for spreading the show naturally. What we're saying is continue to spread it amongst yourselves. Yeah. Thank you. Like a disease, spread this fucking show.
All natural.
What if people wanted to... All naturally. What if people wanted to hunt you down and make sure you were eradicated like a disease? How could they do that?
I really appreciate you finding me on the internet at Whisman Sucks on Twitter and Instagram. Where are you, James?
Definitely. I am at Jimmie P is funny, or you could just search the show. Google search Small Town Murder. We're the only hosts. I promise you that. You will get no other answers. So do that. Find us. You can go to shutupandgivememurder.com. You can get t-shirts, tickets, and follow us. Links to the social media, everything in one goddamn place. So do that and keep coming back, because we're going to keep coming back. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.